something like this. Hit it.
The Roger Report live morning show, weekdays at 9 a.m.
Say y'all, I was on Roger's panel a few times and I couldn't take it. The heat. I got out the kitchen. It was hot. I was sweating. I had to get out.
He's Roger, and he's right.
Check this out.
We can live or die. You choose. I have spoken to you a lot of times in hatred and anger, and you have not heard me. Well, you had better hear me today. If you won't listen to me when I make an appeal for the Negroes because you have no concern for the Negroes, listen to me when I make an appeal for America. You claim you love America. Well, we love America. But you are driving us back and you are making a Samson out of us, and we are going to pull down the pillar. And then you think we have no right to ask for something? Is it too much to ask you to grant us human dignity? Should we be put down and shot to death for this request? If so, you can aim your guns. What the hell do you think we care about dying if you're going to deny us the right to live?
Good morning, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Roger Report Live, the best show on social media. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and take a moment out to hit that like button, because this is where you're going to find the best content on social media, and you don't have to worry about it because you're going to have me right here to make sure that happens. And if you've already been coming to the channel for a while, then go ahead and hit that like button, because you already know what time it is, and you know that this is where you're going to get the best content on social media. It's not a mystery to you at this point. You've seen people do it. You've even seen some people do it well. But what you have not seen is anyone do it quite the way I do it. So make sure you hit that like button. And everyone, yes, everyone, take a moment out to share the content, y'all. There are so many people who need to get great content like this, and it's just a small thing you can do to help the world be a better place. And isn't that what we want at the end of the day? Don't we want the world to be a better place? Of course we do. So share the content out. Share it through your social media. Share it through word of mouth, or even text someone's phone. But do what you got to do to help spread the word. All right, folks, today we are back. Of course, we don't do nothing but interesting subjects over here at the Roger Report Live, and we got another one for you. An interesting thing had come up, and I deal with the stuff. So today we are going to talk about the R. Kelly girl has the mic, y'all. The R. Kelly girl has the mic. All right. For years and years and years, we have known something. Okay. We couldn't confirm per se who it was, where it was, how it was, but it's more information now. Okay, so yes, the R. Kelly girl, y'all, the R. Kelly girl done got the mic. All right, so we gonna deal with this. But before we go too far into this, let me take a moment out to say shout out to all the people who give me views on a regular basis, because y'all the fam. Appreciate you. Shout out to everybody who hypes me up every chance they get. Shout out to everybody hitting that like button, y'all. And remember, it's never too much time has went past from a stream to go and hit that like button, to go and hype it up. Or shout out to the people who leaves comments after the stream. All that stuff is very important. It helps with the algorithm, and you help make the channel a better place. And that's real talk. And also, shout out to the people who go above and beyond the call of duty, who become financial contributors over here at the Roger Report Live. because that's my VIP section. You know, that's the VIP section. So shout out to each and every one of them. And I want to say a special shout out today to my main man, Inspired Truth Broadcast. He is the sponsor of today's stream. So shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you. Always glad to have you here. Always glad to hear. Well, glad to have you here. And let me give some shout outs to some of the first people to check in this morning, because it's always great that when you start a show, you see folks chiming in. But y'all know how it goes. There can only be one. And shout out to that one today. My main man, Bruce Owen Wayne, is in the building. What's going on, my brother? What's going on? We got Trail Bentley representing. Man, you almost did it again. Trail been on fire with the Highlander of the String. You almost got it, but Bruce Owen Wayne, he just beat you, brother. Like he just beat you. But shout out to you, representing like you always do. Hashtag long live the habitual line steppers. Hashtag Negroes in the wilderness. Hashtag dignity over vagina. Hashtag Al Gore's babies. And something that's going to come up today. Hashtag Hell Hydra. Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you. Shout out to Mr. Suge to you is here representing for the pit crew. Shout out to the pit crew. What's going on, my brother? Glad to see you. Glad to see you. We got the righteous teacher in the building. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? We got Tunnel Runner in the house. What's going on, my brother? What's going on? We got Gold P in the building. What's going on, Gold P? Glad to see you. Glad to see you. Woo, Gold P. Another one, huh? Another one. I'm just kidding, Gold P. Shout out to Music Man 1982. Glad to have you. Glad to have you. We got my main man, Floyd Thompson, in the building. What's good? What's good, my brother? Glad to see you here. Glad to see you here. The Pitmaster is also here. Chef Mike Roundtable has come into the building. Glad to have you. Glad to have you. And shout out to Brooklyn's finest. What's up, my brother? What's up? Great to see you. Great to see you. We got all my hoes, the monetizers, in the building. Shout out to the sponsor of today's stream, Inspired Truth Broadcast. Shout out to Yogami. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Afro Merchant is checking in. Great to see you. Great to see you. All right, y'all. We're going to get into this in a moment. But you know what? Just to make sure, you know what I'm saying? Because I was thinking about this, but you know what? I'm almost somewhat glad that I didn't. But I can't really say I'm glad. But I'm going to say shout out to Gold P, because Gold P, I appreciate you, brother. And I'm just not sure I acknowledged your Cash App before we went off air yesterday. I was thinking about that. Did I acknowledge your Cash App before we went off air? But shout out to you, my brother. I know I read the super chat. You said all taxes paid, but I don't know if I actually said the Cash App. So just to make sure, I'm saying it today, y'all. Gold P hit me with the 5 on the Cash App yesterday. So just want to make sure that that's in there too, because I'd rather say it twice than not say it once. And that's real talk. And I'm just going to take it toward you getting me off to a good start today. And I'm going to say shout out to my main man, Yo from Florida, is in the building with the first super sticker of the day. So shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you. I greatly appreciate the support. Real talk. Real talk. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. And shout out to the one, the only, with the first super chat of the day. All my hoes demonetized. He say this the greatest show on YouTube. Psych. Now, shout out to you. My brother is out here doing all these things that, you know, he's pumping stuff that he really don't believe, because he know what's up. He know what's up. You ain't gonna get nothing better on YouTube than the Roger Report Live. So he kids. You ain't gonna get nothing better than the Roger Report Live. And you know, I say I will tackle the hard subjects, you know, and this was a subject to tackle, because you know what? She's putting something out there on her own perspective. All right. She's putting something out there on her own perspective. And she is claiming that she is that girl. Okay. That girl from that notorious tape. And I'm going to say it must have been 2 versions of the tape, because, you know, people still say that they saw a version that I know I didn't see. And I saw somebody who showed a version of this quote unquote tape. And this was a real tape, because this was back in the 90s. So this was tape, you know, this was back in the VHS day. You know, This long time ago, we didn't had the Blu-rays, we didn't had the DVDs, we didn't had the laser disc. You know, this the tape. Okay, the notorious tape, y'all. And this woman here, okay, she says she wants to claim her name back. She wants to claim her name back. The R. Kelly girl wasn't good enough. Okay, the R. Kelly girl wasn't good enough. All right. Now, I'm gonna say y'all. Now I'll put a link in the description so y'all can see one of the interviews she did, which I'm gonna say was an interesting interview. You know, I seen a couple other interviews that she did. You know, she got a book. Now, R. Kelly already serving time. And it seemed like they railroaded him through the justice system, but you know, they quote unquote made him out to be a monster. So this is something Americans really need to start paying attention to. Just because you make somebody out to be a monster does not mean you shouldn't handle them properly in the criminal justice system. Okay? Just because you make somebody out to be a monster does not mean they shouldn't be handled properly in the criminal justice system. If you're going to get them, just get them right. That's all. If you're going to get them right. All right? But R. Kelly's currently serving time right now. You know, I'm going to say they played him bogus based on what I know. They played him bogus. Now, I never believed R. Kelly was 100% innocent, but, you know, it is what it is. You know, people have flaws, and he clearly has one. But, you know, when you're a star, you know, they like to go after you a little bit more. And I think R. Kelly just got to an unfortunate time where, y'all, there's a thing that goes on in music where a lot of black folks have gotten beaten out of their music as far as beaten out of control. And a lot of times they had no idea. Now, sometimes people just gave it up, but in a lot of cases, people did not really understand what they were giving up. You know, and, you know, white folks have always taken advantage of black people from a lack of knowledge. But then even if you had the information, sometimes they just take advantage of, hey, if you want us to really make you an artist and put you out, this come with the territory. Nah, we want that publishing. We want to own this. We want to own that. But hey, you get to go do shows. You'll make some money doing shows, you know. You can charge 5, 10, 20, 30. Depending on how popular you go. Ain't no telling how big you can get the price up for a show. You can keep that show money. But we going to need that publishing money. We going to need that. Y'all, and I heard folks talking about it, and, you know, they were saying that after 30 years, even if you did sign away something, you can redo your stuff or resubmit your stuff, and you can get your masters back. Now, I want to say shout out to all the black artists who've been going through the trouble to get their masters back. You know, it's cool. You know, now I'm starting to think when I see the phrase remastered, that's people just getting their stuff back. Because I used to wonder what that means when I hear something that was quote unquote remastered, but then you hear the same thing. Oh, so that was you getting your money back. Or not getting the money back that you lost, but repositioning yourself to make some money. And y'all, there's money to be made. Okay, there's money to be made. I saw some folks. Now, I can't verify how true it was. They were just on some random channel, and they was talking about how, you know, dead artists who made a bunch of money. And they said Biggie Smalls, the notorious B.I.G., y'all, they said he made like, what was it, like 18 million last year? Okay, he was like one of the bigger black artists or whatever. You know, they said that was made like 54 million. So there's a lot of money into owning this stuff. And I remember back in the day, y'all, I was looking at stuff about copyright, and they were saying that, you know, you can get your stuff copywritten and you can own it up to 70 years after your death before it hits the public domain. So there's a lot of money in this stuff that we may not pay attention to, but it's a lot of money in this stuff. All right. Now, we got this girl who was she was stomping with the big dogs as a youngster. Okay. And she said 14 years old, she was intimate with R. Kelly. Now, I'm not saying she lying. I heard all these rumors about these tapes. I know what I saw, you couldn't convict anybody on, and I didn't see nobody get peed on. I did see something back in the day. I saw something. But what I saw, you couldn't convict anybody off that. You couldn't see the face of the person. It was like you could see maybe you could see the top of the head. Well, I guess it was her head because she's claiming it was her. I guess I could see the top of her head at the time, but you couldn't see her whole face, so you wouldn't know it was her. Okay. And I didn't see her get pissed on. All right. Now, obviously, some of y'all out there saw her get pissed on. It is what it is. You know, maybe she was just a dirty girl back in the day. You know, it is what it is. Well, I guess you kind of have to accept that she was a dirty girl back in the day. Some folks start off with the stuff a little bit younger than others. Now, shout out to Bad Black Gamer. Glad to see you in the building, my brother. Appreciate the super chat. And shout out to you for the 257 and dropping that Trail Bentley tax on it. Appreciate that, my brother. Appreciate it. He said, winter is here and 3 old foes want money for getting peed on. Now, I'm going to keep it real. One of my first and initial thoughts is, oh, this chick wants some money. This chick wants some money. Now, that was one of my first initial thoughts. But is it a bad thing to want money? No. And I thought about it realistically. If I can get paid for getting pissed on, I might as well get paid for it. Because, heck, I already been pissed on. Now, yeah, we got to be, see, over at the Roger Report Live, we're going to keep it real about stuff, y'all. We're going to keep it real. You know, because I know, you know, people may say, hey, you know, that's a cash grab, whatever the case is. And I'm not saying that it ain't. I ain't saying that it ain't. Yeah, sure, it's a cash grab. But you've already been pissed off at this point. So, since you done already went through the show of being pissed on, you know, you've already taken that golden shower. Does it make sense to not get paid? You know? So I get it. And see, the thing is, y'all, as I watch these interviews, she never mentioned her husband. So, you know, when you're not under that covering of a man, you know what I'm saying? When you don't have a man that truly has your back, you got to do some stuff sometime. Okay, now I don't know what her financial situation is. You know what I'm saying? I ain't pocket watching her, but I am going to just look at stuff that makes sense. She ain't got no husband. Or at least he ain't worth mentioning. All the interviews she did, she ain't mentioned no husband one time. Now, she did mention her 5-year-old son. She did mention that. So, you know, she might be out here holding them streets. Now, I'm not going to say that, but I am going to say, based on what I've learned about, you know, people with certain conditions, or people who participate in certain behaviors, you know, they say people who touch on kids, usually somebody kind of touched on them. Now, she is a person that touched on kids herself. And a lot of women say that somebody touched on them and they say that's their excuse for, well, I ain't going to say they say it's an excuse, but they do. A lot of women who say they were touched on young, they put that off on why they become a hoe later. Okay? Now she said she was the girl, so that means she was touched on when she was young, which stands to reason that she was out here being promiscuous, because a lot of promiscuous girls will say they was touched on when they was kids. So she probably out here a hoe. I'm not saying she a hoe. I'm not checking her background to see if she a hoe. I'm just saying that's a consistent thing that you hear when women say they were touched on as children. You know, they be like, well, you know, that I was promised, you know, I was real promiscuous because, you know, I was touched on as a child, and then, you know, I just kind of quote unquote went crazy and I just started doing all kinds of stuff. Now, I'm not gonna say that young ladies who've been touched don't become hoes. I don't necessarily believe there's a clinical reason that being touched on makes you a hoe. I think hoes just want to be hoes. Now, people say, well, you know, but those two things are in common. Yeah, that's true. But I'm going to say, see, a lot of stuff is, you know, you got to look at the context of stuff. And I'm looking at what she did. And I'm not going to say it was right for any man to touch on a child. We know the rules about this stuff. You ain't supposed to be touching on minors. Okay? And if she was only 14 when she got touched on and she got, put on tape, that means R. Kelly wasn't supposed to do it. That's what that means. Okay. Now, R. Kelly may have something wrong with him. And people will say, well, R. Kelly, well, people really ain't going to say, but, small folk, small group of people would say, well, R. Kelly got touched on when he was a kid too. But, R. Kelly a man, so don't nobody care. People cool with that. Now, my thing is, I personally don't like the whole selling of trauma, because a lot of people try to sell that and it don't even match up. Okay. Now, as an adult male, should you be touching on some little girl? Now the answer is no. Are girls traumatized when adult men touch on them? A lot of them no. They love it. Okay. Now I understand some people want me to say something quote unquote politically correct, but I seen the hoes, y'all. I went to school. I had to go through these ages too. I didn't just skip past and just I'm a baby, then I'm adult. No. I had to go to school too. Okay. I saw the hoes run up to the cars of the grown men. Okay. I saw it. Firsthand experience. I said before, my sophomore year, we was having a discussion in the classroom. And the girls start, stunting on each other. It was talking about how old they man was. Now, I'm a youngster, this sophomore year. I'm in the class. It's so many girls talking about how many guys they got. And the oldest one at that particular time, the oldest man they said, somebody said, my boyfriend, 25 years old. Okay. Now, understand this. I'm a sophomore in high school, and I got a girl stunting on the rest of them hoes, talking about my boyfriend, 25. They was stunting on each other. Now, they're children at the time. We got to think about that. They're children at the time. So they just saying whatever because they don't think nothing's going to happen with it. All right? So now, as a young man, you come outside. It's summertime. Cars start pulling up. I'm not going to say I ain't see a parent or two pull up and pick up some girl. Yeah, I saw that too. Amongst the hoes. Okay. Now I know some people like, well, you can't really say they hoes because they was girls. Well, I mean, they was hoes to me because I'm on the kid level still myself. Okay. So as a child, and I look at other children and they doing whole activities, yeah, I'm gonna say they hoes. Because I'm a child too at that point. Now, like I said, y'all, I checked out some interviews with this young lady. And, she confirmed that she was pissed on, because I never saw the pissed on part. Like I said, y'all, I saw something when I was young. But what I saw, you couldn't convict on, and I didn't see her get pissed on. So obviously there's a version out there that I didn't see. Some folks told me they saw crystal clear versions of everything that was going down. All right. Now, she's out here. It's all these years later. R. Kelly is now serving time. R. Kelly has made some sort of statement. I don't remember exactly what the statement was, but if you watch the clip, you heard them say R. Kelly made a statement and he just wishes her well and all that. R. Kelly, quote unquote, took the high road. He took the high road. I wish her well. Okay, cool. Now, she done put a book out because she want to get paid. Now, she says that I'm trying to help people. Now, I'm not going to say it can't be true when somebody saying they trying to help people. I don't believe it because I watched her talk. Okay, so no, do I think she's trying to help anybody? Yeah, I think she's trying to help herself. That's what I believe she's trying to help. She said she got a non-for-profit. All that can be true. It doesn't make me believe her. Now, based on what she said, and just putting two and two together. Now, she said Sparkle, which happens to be her auntie, she claimed that Sparkle kicked the whole thing off or told her how to get the whole thing kicked off. And see, Sparkle name comes up, and I know some people may remember Sparkle, some people not. See, what I don't remember Sparkle being big. I don't remember that. I remember Sparkle because I'm from Chicago. This is a lot of Chicago stuff going on, so I remember Sparkle's name. I don't remember Sparkle being big. I don't think Sparkle had much of a career. I'm not sure, but I don't remember that. I remember she had some songs out or whatever, but did she ever kind of grab people's attention around the country? Not even saying around the world. Did she ever really grab people's attention around the country? I just don't know that she was a big artist. I don't know that she was. Okay? I don't. And I'm just being for real. But this girl who says Sparkle is her auntie, now she said she wasn't trying to throw Sparkle under the bus, but sound like she threw her under the bus. She say Sparkle come to her when she was like 12. Okay. And Sparkle tell her to go sit on R. Kelly's lap and ask him, is he willing to be her godfather? Now I don't say what? That's what I say. I heard that. What? Sparkle, who was, technically she was coming up in the game at that point. All right. Sparkle say, Sparkle said to go get in R. Kelly's lap, which she claimed she had never done before. Go get in R. Kelly's lap and ask him to be your godfather. Now, I ain't never heard of a kid asking an adult to be their godfather. Is that a thing? Is that something that's been going on out here? And I just don't know about it. Because all the godparents I know, they got a sign before that child knew what was really going on. I got some god kids. They didn't know what was going on at the time. Okay? They grew up being told that's your goddaddy. It's that simple at the end of the day. They had no choice. Okay? Okay. So I wonder what's going on there. Shout out to Emerald Edge 72. He said, Roger, I am glad you're doing this topic. 100. Well, I appreciate that, my brother. I appreciate that. And sometimes you got to cover some quote unquote tough topics. All right. And you know what? I'm going to keep it real. There's some stuff I could believe. Then there's going to be some stuff that I don't. I put my little pieces together. And since she say she the girl that got pissed on, I'm accepting she the girl that got pissed on. It just is what it is. And it's a little bit different when you can hear something from the horse's mouth. Because, I didn't see a lot of stuff over time because, didn't know who this girl was. Okay. Now I think she said she was 41 years old. I think she said she's 41 years old. And she has a 5-year-old son and didn't mention any husband at all. And she said, you know what? I'm going to put my book out because it's better for my son to get the perspective from me. Okay. That's an interesting thing to say. I'm not saying that that's a lie in all ways. Maybe part of her reason was to make sure her son gets her account of what's going on. Now you think, well, her son ain't gonna be interested in her sex life. Well, more than likely, he gonna get hit with this when he get to school at some point anyway. At some point, he gonna be of a certain age. I don't know. Might be 7th grade, might be 8th grade. And somebody gonna be like, ain't your mama the R. Kelly girl that got pissed on? Ain't that your mama? Now, maybe he knows at the time, maybe he doesn't. But y'all know how kids can be. And, people can put 2 and 2 together sometimes. So I think at some point in time, that young man is going to have to be faced with, ain't your mama the girl that R. Kelly pissed on? Ain't that her? Now, shout out to Afro Merchant. He say, lock Sparkle up tax. Hashtag support Black men media. Hashtag long live the habitual line steppers. Now, y'all, I never did watch Surviving R. Kelly. I never did watch Surviving R. Kelly. Okay. Y'all got to tell me, was there any push on there to get Sparkle locked up? Because I ain't never really heard about some people saying that Sparkle need to be locked up. Now, Sparkle is her auntie. Sparkle was getting in the music business. Sparkle had access to R. Kelly. And technically, this young lady knows R. Kelly because of Auntie Sparkle. And I think she said her she had an uncle that played for R. Kelly too. But she didn't mention the uncle would have her around R. Kelly. Now, she did say this, y'all. Because we want to be fair to her. We want to be fair. They said she was in some type of music group, and I saw a picture, okay, of supposedly the people who was in this group. She was in a music group who was making some noise overseas somewhere. They might have said Europe or something. So she was in some type of music group. She was the rapper of a music group that was doing some numbers of some kind in another country. So she was other country famous. Okay. She wasn't America famous. She was other country famous. Cool. I'm not going to say that ain't true. Maybe that group really did something. Maybe it didn't really do that much, but she was in some group that did something in another country. So for her mentality is, yeah, it's excited to be around somebody like an R. Kelly who's blowing up. Okay. Now, shout out to Afro Merchant. He said, I watched it. So I guess you're talking about the Surviving R. Kelly. He said, those women practically stalked Kelly. Parents gave him their blessing and they were at least 18. I'm not surprised at that. I've heard a few things and people said they was disappointed in the Surviving R. Kelly because it was a bunch of 18 and over people complaining. That's stuff I heard. Again, I didn't watch. I'm just telling y'all what I heard. They was like, why is y'all tripping? The women was 18 and over. Now, my thing is they was 18 and over. They was 18 and over. Ain't really much to see. Now, let me read this one more again from Afro Merchant. He said, if Kelly should be charged, it should be for what he did to her at 14 years old. Well, that's if you're not going to railroad people. Okay. But, there are folks who want to condition society. If it's a black man, it's okay to it's okay to do him dirty even when it comes to the legal system. Now, my thing is, I'm not going to defend R. Kelly getting away with something illegal, just like I don't defend immigrants getting away with something illegal. I ain't got no use for the illegal immigrant. Okay. And when it comes to R. Kelly, if they do things proper, if you get a man the proper way, I ain't got nothing to say about it. Okay, it is what it is. If you do it, that's part of the risk. See, I accept that in life we take risks. When you do wrong stuff, part of the risk is getting caught and serving time for doing what you did. It's just come with the territory. Now, if the person involved in the risk, you hope to get away, but sometimes you don't. Shout out to Sha'Carri. Okay, Sha'Carri got caught. She fast in them streets, y'all. She fast in them streets. Y'all thought she was just fast on the track. She fast in them streets too. And she got caught. Is what it is. So, get your car towed, pay the bond, pay the ticket, move on with your life. You got caught. All right? You got caught. It is what it is. Shout out to my main man, Landlord Sims. He say her book will be titled Gold P. Hey, man. Y'all got to respect a woman's right to get pissed on, okay? I'm going to say that. Y'all got to respect a woman's right to be pissed on, okay? All right? Shout out to Riley who say, at what point do I take personal responsibility for getting peed on? Shout out for Riley calling out for personal responsibility, y'all. Now, this is an interesting thing, y'all, because I watched this young lady, okay, who 41 years old with a 5-year-old son, no mention of her husband at all. And she said that you know, when she saw jokes out there about her, it kind of messed with her a little bit. Okay, she saw some jokes out there. And there was some jokes. I mean, shout out to Aaron Magruder and his team for coming up with that whole R. Kelly thing, in the courtroom on the Boondocks. Shout out to them. Shout out to Dave Chappelle, with the nice little video skit about pissing on people. Now, I'm going to say real talk, y'all. Folks handled the pissing thing hilariously. Now, she say some of that stuff upset her, but they did such a great job. And keep in mind, they making fun of R. Kelly. They're not making fun of a child being pissed on. It just kind of came with the joke. And what's the harm? Because it ain't like nobody know who you are. But she said she wanted to reclaim her name, y'all. I thought that was just an interesting statement because nobody knew your name. You was the anonymous girl. How do you reclaim from being anonymous? But I got to say, if you want to come out and tell the world that you got pissed off, okay. Now I'm kind of joking about the pissed on part, even though that's part of what happened. It is part of what happened. You want to be known as the girl who got peed on. Technically, that's your business. Okay. I can't tell you not to tell everybody you was the little girl that got peed on. All right. Now, this is the crazy part, though. This is the crazy part. And this is why I don't like it, because I don't think you're supposed to start being all phony and stuff. Now, people would ask her certain questions, and she would avoid answering the questions. Now, my thing is, why would you avoid answering these questions? Because she has this idea that R. Kelly is a monster. And I'm just trying to figure out, where did she get this idea from? See, I understand even the fake people. Like the fake people ain't got nothing to do with it. It's some fake person online. They outraging over R. Kelly as if they ain't never been a young girl with a 22-year-old boyfriend himself. Cause y'all, I mean, at some point in time, we got to stop being fake. This type of stuff happens all over the country. I didn't know Black women was so into a culture of being a child messing with an adult. And it does make sense to me now that when guys started telling me about these adults that they slept with when they was kids, and guys be like, no, it was an adult woman. It was an adult woman. I had, when I had a quote unquote powwow with some of my best friends, and they was telling me the first time that they was with a woman, the woman was an adult. And I'm sitting there, I'm the only dude who first time was not with an adult woman. Everybody else, they telling me about their first time. It's all adult women. Okay, all adult women. See, now it makes sense to me. Okay, I'm gonna say it now. It makes sense to me. Women kind of into that stuff. I didn't know Black women were so into that. But then I had to think about it. No, they deal with adults when they're children. Okay. And they keep it going. And then when they are single mothers, a lot of them just let their daughters do the same thing. And they even coach their daughters into doing it. And in this particular case, Sparkle, according to the R. Kelly girl, Sparkle kicked it off. Or told her how to kick it off. Go in there, sit in his lap. And she said she ain't never sat in his lap before. So Sparkle, I don't know why Sparkle told her to sit in her lap if she ain't never sit in R. Kelly lap before. So now Sparkle, of course, she's making public statements, say, I never groomed her. Sparkle basically said, I ain't do nothing wrong. That's what Sparkle's basically saying. But I'm just going to wonder, why Sparkle tell her to sit in the lap? What was going on? Now, Sparkle was trying to get a music career off the ground, which I don't think was a big career. I could be wrong because I wasn't no fan of Sparkle. But I do remember the whole thing about Sparkle because I'm from Chicago. Heck, I tried to get into the music game myself. So I remember hearing Sparkle name come up here and there. So why Sparkle tell her to get into R. Kelly lap? Why Sparkle tell her to ask R. Kelly would he be her goddaddy? You know? See if he'd be your godfather. Okay? I'm just saying, I wonder how many times Sparkle did that with a young lady. I wonder how many times. Okay? And I'm gonna say now Sparkle was trying to get a bigger career, a bigger name in the music game herself. So now since Sparkle tried to get a name big, I ain't gonna just say anything, y'all. Okay, okay. I'm just trying to, I'm just trying to put my little small mind to it and put two and two. You got somebody named Sparkle, who Sparkle could sing. I'm not gonna say she couldn't sing or something like that. She could sing. I remember hearing her name floating around. I don't remember her being that big of an artist, but you do have access to R. Kelly. Did you send her in there to help your own career? Did Sparkle sell out her own niece so Sparkle could get some little love? Is that what happened? Is that what I'm just wondering? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I told you I don't really believe in coincidence like that. Okay, I don't really believe in coincidence like that. So did Sparkle, betray her own family and say, you know what? In order to help my career, let me give R. Kelly something he liked. Okay. Because y'all, let's keep this straight. If R. Kelly is a man with a problem and he liked to mess with little girls, and Sparkle done kind of peeped out that he likes to mess with little girls, and Sparkle trying to make sure she get a good career and a good name, what's sending her niece to go be with R. Kelly? What's that for real? I mean, I see how black women treat their children nowadays, so I didn't see it for a long time. I don't think any lawyer could prove a case that black women love their children. If black women was on trial on if they love their children or not, I don't care if you got the best lawyer in the country. I don't think he can convince any judge or jury that black women love their children the way they treat them. So now, what's giving a quote unquote monster exactly what he's like to a black woman? That don't seem to be much of nothing to me. So why did Sparkle, who was an adult at the time, and they say Sparkle is like 16 years older than her. Okay. Now they say Sparkle got like a public age or whatever that's different than her real age, but they said her real age is like she's 16 years older than this girl. So if this girl doesn't know R. Kelly since she was 12, that's what I heard, 12, she was around him when she was 13, and they were having sex at 14. Well, if Sparkle is 16 years older than her, look, I ain't no mathematician, y'all. But if I say, okay, Sparkle's 16 years older than her, well, okay. 6 plus 2 carry the 1 minus 3. We gonna come out with 8 though. We gonna come out with 8. Now, now don't ask me to show my work, but we gonna come out with 8. Okay, we gonna come out with 8. It is what it is. Now, if I say, okay, she 12, but she's 16 years older, well, there's a 1 right there. 1 plus 1, minus the 5, add 3, multiply by 2, you're gonna come up with 2. So I got a 2 and I got an 8. Okay. I got a 2 and I got an 8. So now this is telling me Sparkle, 28 years old at the time. It is 28 years old. So Sparkle kind of know what she's doing. Okay. Sparkle is a 28-year-old with a chance to make millions upon millions of dollars if everything goes smoothly. Will a 28-year-old sell out a 12-year-old so she can make a big bag in the music industry? Now we talking about black women now. We talking about black women. Okay. Will she sell out her 12-year-old niece so she can be on? Okay. And let's keep it real now. Now, I don't know what Sparkle did. I don't know if she dropped more albums or whatever, because I just don't pay attention to her like that. I don't know if she was ever a big star. But if Sparkle was able to put out some albums, okay, maybe she's not as rich and famous as other people would be. But if she was able to sustain a quote unquote decent little lifestyle, and she was able to do it as a singer, because sometimes you got an artist that you don't pay no attention to, but you paid attention to them at some point. But they kept putting out music. They kept putting out music. It's artists like that. They ain't get the millions upon millions of dollars, but they was able to squeak out a little career, whatever. And let's keep it real, y'all. If you could do what you love for a living and you can make that 50,000 a year, 70,000 a year, 90,000 a year, okay, maybe you're not as big as other artists, but if you can make that type of bread, would you not do that type of work? And is what you really, really, really want to do? So I don't know. Sparkle, I don't know about her career. Now I'm gonna jump on a music app and see what Sparkle done put out here into the world. But I'm thinking, so you 28 years old, you want to come out yourself and be this big time artist, because ain't like she ain't want no success. Who trying to be an artist and don't want to be successful? Would you give a man with a problem, a 12-year-old, just to help your own career? I find it hard to believe that she wouldn't do that. Now, Sparkle, her statements say, I ain't do nothing. I was not trying to groom her. And I think this young lady even said, I don't think Sparkle was trying to do that. Sparkle, my auntie, I don't think that's what she was on. I'm just wondering, what else could it be? If what you telling me is true, the Sparkle say, go sit in his lap and ask, will he be your godfather? That's just an interesting situation to me. That sound like, if grooming is a thing, that sound like it's included. I'm just gonna say it sound like it's included. But I do give room for benefit of the doubt. So if there's anybody out there in the chat, if there's anybody out there where you told a child to ask them to be their godparent, if you ever told a child this, let me know. If some adult told you when you were a child to ask another adult to be their godparent, please let me know. Okay? Because I ain't never heard of something like this. And I'm saying, I don't care if you're male, female, and the godparent was a male. If anybody ever asked you to ask an adult to be would they be your godparent, please let me know. Because I ain't never heard of something like this. That's just outrageous to me. But Sparkle say she wasn't trying to groom nobody. But hey, it is what it is, okay? It is what it is. But I got to guess, y'all. So I'm going to let my guest get the mic. You have the floor, Gold R. Kelly P, okay? You got the floor, my brother. Go ahead.
All right. Baby, I'ma piss on you. Piss on you. All right, happy Tuesday, Roger.
Woo! Happy Tuesday, brother. Watch out for that P. Watch out for the P, man.
How old is 14? How old is 15? I'm just saying. She has a book for sale. She always have a book, man.
She got a book, y'all. She done wrote a book. She doing interviews. She pushing her book. She gonna get paid off this P. She gonna get paid off this P.
Man, ain't that something? Hey, Is Oprah the editor of the book?
Now I don't know who edited the book. I just know she got some D, she got some P, and now she wants some money. Okay, you know. Now,
I ain't mad at that. That's a good hustle. But how many words can you describe getting pushed up? That's what I would like to know. Is it gonna be a 10,000 words book? How many times the word P gonna be in the book? I don't know. I don't know all the details. I'm not gonna read the book, obviously. Man, ain't that something?
well, I'm gonna say it's a fair hustle, man. It's a fair hustle. I mean, people out here getting peed on. It just is what it is now. And I mean, I used to think I was a freak, but then, like I said, the whole Diddy thing came out. I never claimed to be a freak again, but I was never one of them people who wanted to get peed on. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got no interest in that. But apparently, people have been out here getting peed on for a long time. Now, my thing is, if you want to be a freak and that's how you roll, hey, handle your business how you want to handle your business. But, and a lot of people may say, well, Roger, you shouldn't do this or shouldn't make fun of it. Look, she is an adult. It's people who got peed on for free out here. So I can't even blame her for writing the book as the girl who got peed on to try to make some money. Because, other people have been peed on for free. So, hey, I mean, it's a black man to exploit. I mean, he did do something criminal, according to her. Now, I can't support him doing criminal behavior. I just wanted R. Kelly to get a fair trial. I cannot support him doing criminal behavior. But my thing is, realistically, if you got peed on and you in her situation, now there was always rumors that R. Kelly paid people off. But we know R. Kelly's serving time right now. So R. Kelly may not be able to pay anybody off right now because he's serving time. So now there's a book because she want to make some money. Is she really wrong for writing a book and she been peed on already? Is that so wrong? And shout out to Floyd Thompson. He said hashtag Sparkle should catch a RICO tax. Okay. Hashtag grooming baby tax. Long live habitual line steppers. You know what? Shout out to you, Floyd. I'm gonna say that's a good point. Because I don't remember anybody. And shout out to you for the Trail Bentley tax as well, my brother. Shout out to you for that 57-cent Trail Bentley tax. I don't remember anybody asking about Sparkle getting arrested. I don't remember that. And Sparkle set the whole thing up. Sparkle was the person with the music career. I remember when I first heard she was an artist, I was like, when was she? I don't remember one song from her. But after looking at other stuff, I did see they showed the pictures of. Yeah, they didn't say how successful the group was, but they said she was in some group, and they implied that the group was popular, and they just was in another country. So she was the rapper of the group. Okay, she was the rapper. Hey, R. Kelly's the singer. Best of both worlds, baby. I don't know what to tell you, but they never dropped that album.
And if getting peed on can guarantee you a book deal, how about those people who are going to do Dubai? What are they gonna get? A TV documentary?
Well, I'm gonna say my thing is, it's a special case because it's R. Kelly peed on. It just ain't anybody who peed on her. The King of R&B peed on. How many people can say that? It may not be a lot of people who can claim the King of R&B peed on. I'm not gonna say it's an exclusive claim, but it's probably a whole lot closer to an exclusive claim. It's a lot closer to an exclusive claim. And R. Kelly shouldn't have peed on this child and any of that other stuff until she was of age. Okay.
How old was she when she was getting peed on?
I can't tell you exactly when she got peed on, but she said the sexual relationship was happening at 14.
So you're 14 years old and somebody's pissing on you, you can move out of the way?
I mean, she let her tell it. She didn't know moving out the way was the way to go.
And that's
She said, she used the word, y'all. She said, "I thought I was in a situationship with R. Kelly." That's what she said. You know, but she called him Robert. She kept calling him Robert. Okay, so I wonder what was kind of going on, because she calls him Robert as if she's used to calling him Robert. Y'all know how you call a person a thing, so you just keep rolling with that thing you've been calling the whole time. So she calls him Robert as if that's how she would. So I just wonder. It's a lot. I got a lot of questions, because you know, she said like R. Kelly was like a friend of the family, and she said her uncle played for R. Kelly. Her auntie is Sparkle. So I can believe R. Kelly was a quote unquote friend of the family. And if you met R. Kelly when you was 12, why are you calling him Robert? I just wonder about that. I'm not saying it ain't true. I'm just wondering who lets a 12-year-old call an adult by their first name. Now I understand if it's like a stepfather, you know what I'm saying, or like a stepmother. I know they do something like that, but who calling adults by their first name like that? You know, but you know, I can actually accept that if you pee on me, I should at least get to call you by your first name. I'm gonna say that. If you pee on me and I can't call you by your first name, that's also weird. You mean I can't call you by your first name and you out here pissing on me? Okay. If there was a female pissing on me and her name was Roberta and I can't call her Roberta, I mean, come on, man. You know, so it's all kinds of weird stuff going on with this regardless. Shout out to Landlord Sims. He says title. Shower me with love and pages are laminated. Well, I'm gonna tell you, Landlord Sims, I did play with the title. It was a few titles that I wanted to kind of go with. It was a few titles that came up, okay? Because R. Kelly's golden shower girl came up. It was a few titles that came up, bro. You know, it took me a while to do this one. Okay, it took me a while to do this one. Okay, the R. Kelly girl seems like she's ready. Oh, Shark say that's the title of her book. Well, you know what? Shout out to you, Shark, for that. Shout out. I wouldn't advertise the book, but shout out to you, brother. He said that's the title of her book. Okay. Well, see, I ain't even look at the title because I ain't gonna promote a book. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna say this: a lot of weird stuff kind of went on with this one, y'all. A lot of weird stuff, you know. And I'm gonna say, y'all, it's also, I mean, it's bad enough that R. Kelly, as a grown man, had a sexual relationship with a child. That's bad enough. But she makes an effort to make it worse, to address R. Kelly as if he's a monster. Now, she was asked a question. I was like, I wonder how she gonna answer this one. She was asked a question. She said, well, you know, there's been this thing out here where people are talking about, you know, you could basically separate an artist from their art. Now, what do you think about that? And she said, well, you know what? R. Kelly's still creative. I ain't going to take away his, basically, and y'all, of course, I'm paraphrasing. I'm not saying any of this word for word. She was basically saying that, no, I get it. They see him as an artist. They know him as R. Kelly. They don't know him from behind the scenes. I said, that's an interesting answer from the girl who got peed on if she views it as traumatic. And see, my thing is, she was just talking as if she had been through some trauma. And I'm sitting here trying to figure out, when did she go through trauma? Because, see, this is the thing, y'all. People say, well, she was 14. What? Yeah, she was 14, but did she go through trauma? Because a lot of girls sleep with men that they shouldn't be sleeping with when they're 14. It seems to be something that culturally black women get. That's just how black women get down. They like having sex with men they shouldn't have sex with. And one of the ways to do that is to be an underage person sleeping with some man that, you was able to get him to go. So that seems to be a thing for black women. They like having sex with some men they shouldn't be having sex with. Now, that don't mean it was traumatic. Because I'm being kind of realistic about things. You a 12-year-old yourself when you meet this R&B guy. This R&B guy, as you know him, starts becoming one of the bigger artists in the world. Okay, I'm listening to your story. You do music too, and you supposedly successful overseas, but one of the biggest artists in the world, a guy who's coming up majorly, because you was there for it. If you met him at 12 and you 41 now, you saw R. Kelly when he was really starting to blow up. Okay? All right, so if I accept that about you, where was your trauma? You was having sex with the guy that you wanted to have sex with. See, R. Kelly shouldn't have had sex with her, but she was having sex with the guy she wanted to have sex with. She messing with, a future king of R&B. I'm going to say future at that point, because he ain't the R. Kelly we know at that particular point. But this guy's on his way to becoming one of the biggest artists in the world. You wanted to have sex with him, and you did. At no point did she say R. Kelly had to do something to convince her to have sex with R. Kelly. So she did what she wanted to do. And now she talks as if she's traumatized, even though she had sex with a guy she wanted to have sex with. And see, my thing is, how do you come together like that, where now all of a sudden you're traumatized because people told you that you're supposed to be traumatized because this wasn't right? Okay? That don't make no lick of sense. That don't make no lick of sense.
He liked it, probably.
Probably.
Yeah,
when you agree to get taped, I think that's a good indicator you like it. She said she knew she was getting taped. It wasn't that she didn't know. So getting taped was cool with her. That don't sound like trauma to me. Now, Missing Pieces then came up. Missing Pieces, go ahead and get the mic. Do your thing.
Hey, Roger. Thanks for having me up. Peace to the panel and chat. Long live the Habitual line steppers. Yay. On this terrific Tuesday. Yeah, she was traumatized, Roger, because the checks stopped coming. And everybody and everything surrounding the whole Kelly situation, knowing this man not getting out of jail no time soon, that trust fund and dried up. So, she had to probably scramble to write this book. But I remember this face when I did a certain chauffeur gig in Chicago, and she was at the studio. I'm not going to say she was facilitator or she was doing some Epstein stuff there, but there are a lot of girls I dropped off. And I hate to tell Kels, and if you hear this later on, once he gets out of jail, or if they listen to this in jail, you had a lot of my sloppy seconds. Because I dropped a lot of girls off at the studio and then got at them before you did. So, but yo,
I think bro, be careful about that kind of given what this guy's been accused of doing. Be careful about that admission.
Obviously, you better clear that up about what their ages were.
Their ages were old enough to buy liquor. They were old enough to buy liquor because I met them.
Some age.
One of the major foods.
You want to be careful.
Disclaimer. One of the food stores had videotape of them being of age buying liquor, so that's my disclaimer. So, but yeah, I level playing that, man. I think. See, the Sparkle situation, bro. She was too old for Kelly. You know how that thing was. Us growing up in Chicago, the little rumor was he ain't dealing with you unless you're young. Sparkle's a little too young, and the music industry always had that stigma. If you're over 23, you're pretty much out the game as far as women. They're always looking for the younger, brighter, healing women. And Marco, she was like, wasn't super fine, nothing. So I can see why he probably was kicked out of the curb and got different girls, different group, and she was wrong though for making the young lady sit on his lap, be asking to be god daddy. Most girls these days sit on people's lap, ask to be sugar daddy. You be my sugar daddy. And I'll let him play there, bro. Thanks for having me up.
Hey, appreciate you coming up. But what I was gonna say, when y'all come up, y'all be careful with your words. Now, this stuff is public record. Be careful how you say stuff. Add in the proper details when necessary. That's all I'm saying. Add the proper details when necessary.
I'm way younger than Kels. I'm about 20 years younger than Kels, so I'm in the age group that should be it should be messed around with.
All right, go ahead, Black Guru. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Roger. I hope you're doing well. I hope the brothers on the panel and in the public chat are well. As often the case, Roger, provocative, very provocative subject, which leads me very often to a lot of complex views and sort of varying and maybe even to some degree conflicting perspectives. Because part of my view of R. Kelly, somebody's got something going on in the background, hearing some family stuff or something in the background. Part of my views of Kelly were largely framed around what he pulled with Aaliyah and everything that happened about that. So he kind of lost my innocent before proven guilty position. Had it not been because of the Aaliyah thing, I would have viewed R. Kelly much more objectively or empathetically. But because of the Aaliyah thing, and just quick synopsis, I mean, not only obviously was he involved with Aaliyah, I think she's like 14 years old, but apparently had taken her across lines and married her, and then eventually the marriage had to be annulled. All that business. Because of all of that happened well before this incident with this girl, I kind of pretty much knew what R. Kelly was. But this girl, she admitted during this interview that she lied to federal prosecutors. And she lied to them during the time in which, had she not lied to them, and this is once people admit to lying, then at that point, are you lying to me then? Are you lying to me now? Because later, I guess she helped the federal prosecutors in, I guess, what eventually happened to Kelly. Then my question would be, well, if she lied to you before, which, by the way, is a federal crime, it's a federal crime to lie to federal prosecutors and investigators. That's a federal crime in and of itself. So her admitting that is like, wow, although I presume it's past any sort of statute of limitation. I hope it is for her sake, past any issues regarding statutes of limitation, or maybe she got immunity later when she decided to basically renege on her prior testimony. But her lying to federal prosecutors when he was tried, what was it, 17 or so years ago, I kind of lose, even though I could be empathetic to what happened to her as a child, when he could have been punished for it. And if I assume that everything that happened after that point were crimes or of some sort, which we can debate, what is a crime involved in people who are legal adults agreed to become involved with. But if I accept the argument that those were crimes, then I have to also say that she was kind of a conspirator to all the crimes that happened afterwards, because she lied to prosecutors that could have gotten them locked up back then. And so for that reason, I can't, I can be empathetic to what may have happened to her as a child, but then later she, in my view, contributed to whatever crimes that he engaged in after that point. And then the fact that obviously her father knew about it, her parents knew about it. I guess her mother was still alive, but I think she's lost both of her parents. I guess both of her parents knew that he was trifling with her, and she then blamed herself. Said, "Well, I kill myself if you do something to him," and sort of tried to take the blame, or sort of extort them into not going after him. I just have a lot of ambivalent thoughts about her, and I have a lot of ambivalent thoughts about her out in my opening statement.
Well, I'm gonna say, her situation is kind of interesting, and the way she answered questions to leave stuff so ambiguous, and you really don't know this, and you really don't know that. Because I definitely got some questions. Because I want to know, was her dad with her mom? Because if you talk to the parents, and she said her father came out crying, is she making this up, or did this really go down? And what kind of thing do you have to tell a man where he'll come out the room crying, but he ain't tried to kill you? That's just an interesting. Well, I guess maybe he had emotional intelligence, y'all. I guess that's what women mean by emotional intelligence. Because if you make me cry as a father, and you another grown man, I don't see how you make it out that room and I ain't at least tried to kill you. That don't make sense to me.
I'm sorry, Roger. I'm crying. I'm angry, and every shit gonna get destroyed. I'm sorry.
Well, she gave no indication that her dad found out this information and did anything other than cry. She didn't let us know he did anything. So that's what I'm saying. Is that what emotional intelligence is?
Well, let's remember what she said, though, to be fair, I guess, to the memory of her father. And this is just let's reveal everything she said and judge it however we choose. She said that her parents wanted to do something to Kelly, but she herself made a point of saying, I threatened to kill myself and all of this if they did anything to him because I was so caught up in his spell. So she basically sort of threw herself. I mean, she appeared to have love for her father. She dedicates the book to her father and her child. So she appeared to have some sort of special love for her father. And she says her parents supposedly helped her to survive the experience. So she appeared to have a genuinely loving, or albeit flawed, but loving relationship with her parents, both of whom now are deceased. And I think because they're deceased, maybe she's protective of their memory, but then also maybe because they're gone, since they cannot really be harmed legally, in any way, or shamed publicly in any way, maybe it's kind of freed her to be more candid about what has happened, or what she alleges has happened that she might have been when her father, because I think her father died more recently. I think she said he died in 2020. Maybe he died of COVID in 2020. With them being gone, now they're not in any position where they might be harmed publicly or anything like that.
I mean, I'm not gonna say you're wrong. I'm just gonna look at it like this. To me, she might be slick dissing her dad. She don't like that dude, and this is her way of slick dissing him, because she dedicated a book to him about how she was a 14-year-old girl having sex with an adult. You could dedicate something else to me. I don't. That ain't cool.
But you dedicating to me. You're looking at it from a lot. You're looking at it from a logical perspective. You're not looking at it from a broken female mind and perspective where everything's emotional and everything's victim. My best guess is she views her father and views her family to have been victims of R. Kelly. That would be my view of it. And she don't view, from a man perspective, we think about being able to fight and protect and challenge and etc. But from this broken female perspective, we're victims. R. Kelly was this rich, powerful dude. He had all this money. He had all this fame. He was like sort of some overlord sort of figure over everybody, including her father. And so she probably felt like she wants to protect her father from R. Kelly. Again, it's not nothing that we would necessarily empathize with as men, but I can understand why a fractured female mind would view things differently.
And I'm gonna say you make good points, Black Crew, but I'm gonna say this what I believe. Okay, this is just my belief based on the information I've been able to ascertain. This girl had a ball. This girl had fun. She wanted to be in the music game herself. She's in some group that's doing something overseas. I don't know how big they were, but they was doing something overseas. Now you got access to a guy who's turning into the king of R&B. Okay, he wasn't the king of R&B yet, but he was turning into the king of R&B. Now you had a ball. Why do I say this?
When did she get access to him? Because I mean,
At
all
12.
that shit, I believe I can fly. I'm just saying, R. Kelly was the biggest thing going before he got with her. I mean, he was writing songs for Celine Dion and shit in the 90s. So, yep. I mean, he was the biggest thing going when he got with her.
Okay, but then that just means
I Believe I Can Fly came out. I Believe I Can Fly came out in the 90s. That was Space Jam. What was that, 96?
Yeah, you know what? You make a great point. Which means she had more fun than I even anticipated. She was having a grand time.
No, he was the biggest thing going. He was the biggest thing going in music, certainly black music at that time. I mean, you can throw Michael Jackson in here and there, but R. Kelly was the biggest thing going there.
Yeah, because Michael Jackson had chill for like 10 years and didn't put out nothing. So Michael Jackson was on chill mode and R. Kelly was doing his thing. So yeah, she was having a fantastic time. Now, why am I saying this? Because girls was having fantastic time with guys because they had a car. Girls was having fantastic with guys because they was adults. They was having fantastic time with guys that was older that can go in the store and buy some liquor. And now you got all this plus is R. Kelly.
R. Kelly famously had a studio on the south side of Chicago. There would be little girls running in and out of there all the time. Everybody knew about it. Everybody knew about it. A bunch of 14, 15, 16-year-olds running through that all the time. It was like some kind of playground or
something. And that's why I'm saying I don't believe her with this whole I was traumatized. You weren't. You had a great time. You were an upcoming artist yourself, and you got to talk and deal with one of the most famous black men in the country at the time. How did you have a bad time? Where were you traumatized? You weren't. Just lying to sell a book. Now, I'm not saying R. Kelly was right just because he was famous, but at the end of the day, where did the trauma come from? You was having a blast. She even said in the interview she was getting gifts and whatnot from R. Kelly. Well, he wasn't taking care of the family like people thought, but he was giving me gifts and things like that. And then he took care of some stuff because when stuff came out and, they had, my family had to leave their regular jobs and whatnot. And R. Kelly was paying for this. I mean, and then you talking about you was going to die to save R. Kelly. And she said I was in a situationship with R. Kelly, and I didn't realize that I wasn't the only girl that he was saying this stuff to. And it was hard for me to accept that I wasn't the only girl. Don't sound like she was traumatized at all. Sound like she may have been made to be a little bit jealous of other people, but I don't see where the trauma came in at. I think that's just, I'm trying to sell a book. Yeah, it hurts to hear his name because I'm traumatized. You sound like you had a ball. Now I'm just looking at it because I was a kid too.
Well,
This sounds like I'm having a ball.
I don't take away from the notion of a child becoming involved with an adult in that. And I still blame him to the extent that he got involved with her as a child, but then I also have to put equal blame on her parents and her aunt who introduced her to Kelly, and any other adults around her and them who obviously knew what was going on. So while I can condemn him for being, predator or whatever, I don't even know. Predator implies that he went after her, but it's a different thing when they basically gifted the girl to the man. So is he even really a predator? It's just, I don't even know what terminology to use here, but obviously he was committing crimes when he was involved with her as a minor. And all of the adults, the guardians and the principals who were knowledgeable of, who introduced and facilitated that girl being involved with him were conspirators in those crimes. And that's got to be emphasized more, as we talk about this. And she obviously was trying to protect, if you listen to the interview, she was obviously trying to protect her parents from being, now she was willing to throw her aunt under the bus, so Sparkle, I guess. But she was obviously trying to protect her parents from that particular obvious connection that they knew of what was happening. They allowed it to continue. Of course, she took the blame for that. But they're a strong part of that. And, I mentioned the Aaliyah thing. Obviously, her parents sort of facilitated that thing as well.
Yeah, they were going in the guise of Islam. The Aaliyah thing. That was the roots. Kind of placate that situation.
Yeah, I heard something about that.
And I'm gonna say this. Now, I can't say the man wasn't involved in criminal acts. That to me, that's just accepted. I'm just wondering why she wrote the book, because now with the stories and the things she's telling, I'm looking at her. She said I was in a quote unquote situationship, which is this stupid term that women be pushing, trying to get men to accept nonsense. So basically, R. Kelly was your man. That's how you looked at R. Kelly. R. Kelly was your boyfriend. Just is what it is. And you don't want to say that now, but R. Kelly was your boyfriend. Now, I think the real issue with Sparkle is that, because she admitted, Sparkle had sex with R. Kelly. Sparkle became competition. Sparkle, I believe Sparkle, if anything, was trying to help Sparkle get her own career going so she could be kind of big time like R. Kelly was, or go somewhere along those lines, because Sparkle never really seemed to hit it big to me. I just don't remember Sparkle as being a big artist. Now there was stuff implied that R. Kelly was the man back then and he had all this power. R. Kelly couldn't even get his own people off the ground for real. I remember Changing Faces, right? I think they had a decent career. R. Kelly had this whole thing about Rockland. Boo, what was it, Boo and Gotti? Them dudes never became anything from a music set. He couldn't get his own people off the ground. Not for real. So all this power they're trying to indicate R. Kelly had, no, he just didn't have, he didn't have it like that. He was successful as a singer. Was he the man? No. R. Kelly was never the man from a music situation.
He had the power, and I'm not disputing what you're saying with respect to his lack of ability to facilitate the careers of other people. Perhaps I think there were other issues. I think it's much more difficult to successfully run or compete in the music business from Chicago. And that's a long time thing that goes all the way back to chess records and all that. That's why Minnie Riperton had to leave Chess Records in the 70s and go to Stevie Wonder and those guys to really get on. So I think that partly what happened with that was a more regional. Kanye West had to leave Chicago to go to New York out there with Jay-Z and them. So I think that wasn't just R. Kelly himself. I think there's something about the logistics of being in Chicago in particular, not being in LA, not being in New York, and now maybe Atlanta, right? If you're not in those three places, it's going to be more difficult to make things happen musically, generally. So I think that was partly a function of that. But he had the power of his own thing. This guy had written songs for Michael Jackson, Celine Dion. He had gold, platinum albums himself. Even if the people did not necessarily succeed with him, he was so successful himself that it was almost impossible for somebody in Chicago in particular to not be drawn to him, even if it didn't necessarily work.
I mean, I ain't gonna never take away from him and what he was able to accomplish as an artist. I'm just saying, trying to present him as is anything close to a mogul. And I'm not trying to say this to insult him, but to try to present him as anything close to a mogul is laughable to me, because R. Kelly just didn't make other.
I'm saying from her perspective. See, everything's all relative and perspective. If you know the business or whatever, maybe you view it differently or whatever. But from her perspective, R. Kelly was the biggest thing going, certainly the biggest thing going in Chicago. If I had a chance to possibly make it happen, if I don't have any connection to Los Angeles, I don't have any connection to New York, if I don't have any, and I'm talking strong inside, like maybe P. Diddy connection in the 90s, if I don't have that, R. Kelly's probably the best other chance I'm going to get. So it was almost by default, if you were a Chicagoan, it was almost by default that you were going to be drawn to R. Kelly, because he was going to be the best chance you were likely going to get.
No, that I 100% agree with.
Yes, it didn't work out. Agree with that. But in 1999 or whatever, or 1998, 1999, yeah, I'm definitely trying to get with R. Kelly, no doubt about it.
No, yeah, I mean, and I'm not
going. And if I lack certain scruples, I'm throwing my daughter and my sister and my TT
and your
everybody.
niece. Your niece,
real talk, and your niece, exactly. Real talk. That's how dudes were getting down. She's throwing that monkey around anyway. She may as well throw it at R. Kelly. That's kind of how probably a lot of people would think.
Yeah, and I'm not saying any of that is wrong, because I was a person in Chicago myself, so I understand at least part of that battle. But at the end of the day, she's doing an interview as a 41-year-old woman. She says she's 41. She know good and well R. Kelly wasn't and I don't want to take away from R. Kelly, because I actually like him as an artist, real talk. And I personally will listen to R. Kelly music without a problem at all. I know people say, but he's a mom. If I got to actually start not paying attention to people who did stuff to children, it's a lot of people I'm giving up before I give up R. Kelly, because there's a whole lot of folks been rumored to do stuff, and there's been some confirmations out there. So as a grown man, I ain't starting with no black man. There's too many white folks to give up before I give up the black man. I'm gonna get them up first. So for anybody who try to, would you listen to it? If you ain't give up your white man, why you asking me to give up the black man? Let's do it together. You know what I'm saying? We can get our Delroy Lindo on. We can do it together, okay? So if you ain't gonna give up your white men who've been doing all kinds of stuff, you ain't gonna give up your white women who've been doing all kinds of stuff, don't ask me to give up the black men. It's that simple to me.
Yeah, I mean, if you start doing that, you're gonna have some very sobering experiences, and it won't end in music. It'll go into acting, it'll go into sports, it'll go into a lot of different directions. So yeah, you don't want to run that legend. You don't want to run that legend.
Yeah, I'm telling you that ain't a game. Ain't nobody finna play and win. You know. Now I'm gonna say so.
Judges, senators, congressmen.
Oh, it's gonna get real ugly.
Presidents, yeah.
I'm just saying, y'all, and y'all know right now they doing a whole lot with that Epstein list right now. They trying to make sure ain't nothing really popping off when it comes to that. So you know, it is what it is on that note. But I'm gonna say, yeah, her perspective now as a 41-year-old woman, because that's how I'm looking at her. She's saying this as a 41-year-old woman. You know, R. Kelly didn't have it like that back in the day. Now, as a child, maybe that was your perspective. I'll grant you that. But as a 41-year-old woman in the interview, you know Kelly didn't. I'm not trying to diss.
But she is talking. But hold on. You're being somewhat disingenuous, Roger, because she's talking about her perspective as a child. I mean, most of this book is about her childhood and her early adulthood. You know, it's not. Yeah, she's 40-something now, but I think it's fair to think that she probably was star-eyed about R. Kelly 25 years ago. I mean, I think that's a fair.
No. I'll give her that. What I'm saying is, because of what was going on and who he was, there was no chance for you to be traumatized. You enjoyed being your quote unquote boyfriend was R. Kelly, the great R&B singer. You had a ball. Where did you have a chance to be traumatized at? You protected R. Kelly from your father. That, according to what you say, you protected R. Kelly from your father. You know, and I got a lot of questions about that, but of course, you know, ain't nobody
gonna
really ever ask
herself.
that.
Yeah, say she was a victim of herself, I guess.
Yeah,
I guess. I don't know.
And my thing is, when you say your father was crying, see, I want to know because she said R. Kelly was in another room with her father. It would have been some furniture moving in that room before I found out you even gonna threaten to take your own life to save R. Kelly. I'd already been on dude. So you know what I'm saying? It's the way she kind of presented the story just leaves questions.
Okay. So, but hold on. So there was no furniture. See, I mean, we know her father knew what was happening. So then the question is, how do you present? If you wanted to quote protect your father, how do you present this story? Because obviously her father didn't stop what happened, and he very likely knew about it as it was happening, or certainly immediately after it happened. So the way for her to protect her father, she presents it as though he was emotionally traumatized by what had happened. That's her protecting her father. Otherwise, her father is going to be viewed as being, from her perspective, her father is going to be viewed as a conspirator to what happened. That's the only other way you can interpret what happened, because it happened and it continued to happen. She continued to be involved in it. So her way of protecting her father was like he disagreed with it. He was emotionally destroyed by it, but he let it happen because of the position that I took to defend him. That's how she presented it. And I understand that. I don't agree with it, but I understand it from her perspective. Her way of protecting her father is to, in a way, make him a victim of R. Kelly and a victim of her, because she presents it as if her parents are a victim of her decision that they had no control over, that she did things in spite of what they wanted. That's what she said.
I mean, I can't argue with that, and you definitely helping the black girl. I'm gonna say that you definitely helping her out right now, because I'm looking at the fact that
I'm not helping her out at all. I'm helping out. This is the story she's telling of her father, who knew about what was happening, and because he knew about what was happening, then what position? How do you want to present him in this story? You could present him as being like an idiot. you could present him as being a conspirator to what happened, or you can present him as being a victim of what happened. Now, in those three scenarios, where does her father come out better? As an idiot, as a conspirator, or as a victim? From
I'm gonna say the word.
Her father comes out as being a victim.
I mean, and that's true, and that's why I say you definitely help, because I just see her presenting her father as a BAN. I'm gonna just say that. That's how she presented her father to me. Okay, because at the end of the day,
I mean, and from a woman perspective, it's okay for a man to. This is a gynocracy. This is a gynocracy. Yep. Let's remember that. And a gynocracy is better for a man. For a lot of them, their default position is for you to be a BAN. That's their default position for you, including their father.
And that I can agree with. That I definitely can agree with.
Yeah,
yeah.
So while you view him being a BAN, from her perspective, he's a victim.
Yeah. I'm just saying, to me, there's no way to indicate she liked her father at all. You know. Now, does anybody know was her father and mother even married? Were they married? Does anybody know? Was that ever said publicly?
She doesn't state that in the video. Doesn't mean they were not. But she don't expressly state that in the video. But she says if it were not for her parents, she would not have survived, which suggests the possibility of them being a relatively close-knit family. Now, whether that was all in one household or whatever, I don't know. But she presents it. Look, at least she don't tell this tale of, just her mama. She appeared to have love for her father. I mean, I know you want to interpret it. I know you want to interpret how she presents things to suggest something different. She dedicated the book to the man. You don't dedicate books to people you hate and revile. You just don't. That's a permanent lifetime tombstone kind of thing. You don't do that. Now, from our perspective, her love for her father is flawed. But everything she presented, even how she talked about him, she mentions him dying in 2020. Everything she presents about her father says she loves her father. Flawed though it may be from our perspective.
I think she was being sarcastic with the title. She probably just could have named the book BAN. Dedicated to my father.
Might as well. I mean, at the end of the day, I get it.
But hold on. But let's be real and plain here for a second. It's a lot of bitch ass niggas that be around, superstar people. Being around superstar people has a way of turning a lot of people into bitch ass niggas and bitch ass bitches. I mean, let's be real. With all the money and attention and the status and the flashing lights and whatever, a lot of people start lining up behind all that kind of stuff and falling all over themselves. We've all seen that. We've all seen that phenomenon.
That's true.
Yeah, well, we definitely can't argue that. I just don't know if I want a book.
You're right. You're right, Blackaroo. When Prince came to Chicago, I think I turned into a BAN.
I'm
that last concert in Chicago, I was mad when he delayed it because one of the members of time.
Motherfuckers painting. Motherfuckers painting. Grown men painting in the
house. I try and get a t-shirt signed. Oh, nigga.
Well, at least for you, it's temporary. I mean, I don't want to say that she don't have a right to love her father. I don't want to imply that she can't dedicate a book to her dad. All I'm gonna say, if I was her dad, I would hate that she dedicated something like that to me. You know what I'm saying? But if that's her dad, that ain't my dad. So, you know, how she feel about her dad is, I mean, she got a right to feel that way at the end of the day, you know? And I'm gonna say, you know, because I don't know what the relationship is. Now, somebody said in the chat that her parents were married until death, which could very well be true. But is Sparkle your auntie? Well, that's what I'm saying. Is Sparkle your auntie? And Sparkle told you as a 12-year-old to go ask R. Kelly to be your godfather. That implies something about your family. Now, she said she had an uncle. I don't know what the relationship is, but an uncle somewhere was playing for R. Kelly too. So now your dad is your dad. Now I don't know exactly where your dad fit in with everything going on, but I mean, maybe that was just a whole family of just, maybe they whole family just get down in ways that, you know, I just wouldn't approve of. Because all of them people could be brothers and sisters. Her dad can be brothers and sisters with the uncle that played for R. Kelly, and they both could be brothers of Sparkle. I don't know what side of the family these folks land on. So maybe she just come from a terrible family, and, you know, that's why she the way she is now.
Okay, they with a guy. They with a guy who is writing songs for Celine Dion and Michael Jackson. I mean, I think you have to consider, and I'm not justifying any behavior of anybody here. I am explaining the gravitational pull that R. Kelly has at that time. You know, that's the gravitational pull. That's the environment that they're in. And for people who aren't nearly as capable, aren't nearly as successful, aren't nearly as affluent or high status, a lot of people are going to make concessions in that kind of environment. A lot of so-called decent people, a lot of so-called religious people, a lot of so-called honorable people are going to find ways to justify letting their girl spend time with R. Kelly. I'm not saying you would have done it. I'm not saying I would have done it, but a lot of people we know would have done
it. Yeah. About 80% of people I know probably would have did it. Mamas, single mamas.
Yeah.
Dads might not so
all
much,
kinds of ways, and not just the single mamas, not just the single mamas, and some of the dads would have signed up on that shit too. Let's be real. In 2001.
Well, you know what? I can accept that there are people who will sign off on it, and I've definitely made my stance. What you do with your kids, as far as I'm concerned, that's your business. I ain't got to agree with how parents raise their kids. It's their child, so it is what it is. Okay, you know. And maybe somewhere in his heart, if he found out this book was dedicated to him, maybe he would have been glad about it. I think my father would have been ashamed of me if I but that's not my family at the end of the day. That's not my family. So, you know, it is what it is. And like I said, y'all, I mean, realistically speaking, up until this point, she was peed on for free. And if R. Kelly done paid some people out and you was this anonymous, because I'm gonna say this, maybe this something did happen. I don't necessarily remember her being rewarded any money. Did she make any money off R. Kelly going to jail? Was that ever a thing? Did they ever say that R. Kelly paid her anything? You know, based on the court system, I'm saying.
Well, I would imagine that even if he did pay them something, that would have been part of the lie she told to prosecutors, that he did not pay her something. I would imagine that, because if you admit to prosecutors that you receive payment, then that inculpates or makes guilty what Kelly was doing. But if she lies and say he never paid her or her family anything, then that helps to exculpate or make innocent R. Kelly.
Well, my question, what I'm really asking is, did the court ever tell R. Kelly to turn some money over to her? like in some type of restitution or something. Well, because this stuff
No,
been
she didn't civil. That's not a civil. You talking about a civil? That would be a civil suit. When you pay a fine, you pay a fine to from a criminal trial. You pay a fine to the state.
So
You
she
don't pay
never
a
had a
fine
civil
to
suit
the
against.
individuals. You only pay something if there was a civil suit.
Right. And I'm just trying to make sure, because I don't remember anything like that happening. I don't necessarily remember that, which is why I can understand, even if her family was getting money from R. Kelly been locked up for a while. So I understand why she wrote the book. The money ain't coming in no more. If your uncle play for R. Kelly, he ain't got no job unless he playing for somebody else. Sparkle,
Roger.
I just don't know about her career. I'm gonna check. I'm gonna look in the music app and see what Sparkle been doing to see if she got albums and stuff out. But I ain't really heard Sparkle doing nothing. Go ahead. Was that Floyd? Was you trying to say something?
Yeah. Plus the pee dried up. So
Well, yeah, and that's why I think the book is coming out. And that's why I'm saying, realistically speaking, y'all, it's people that been peed on for free. If you could say the king R&B peed on you and make a little money off the deal, I can understand it. Desperate time calls for desperate measures, and bills got to get paid. And she do got a 5-year-old, so I mean, that's better than her walking the streets at this point. I ain't saying it won't happen later.
Well,
but
I mean,
this
this is also a good timing for this, considering the I'm trying not to use these people's names, but the tapes, the tapes thing, and the and what happened to Bad Boys for Life, in 2025.
Yeah.
So I think this is all kind of, from a marketing standpoint, it's all coordinated around the hoopla involving those and similar events. So this is as much about capitalizing on the moment as much as any desire towards any revelations and that sort of shit, and being earnest. And look, I don't begrudge the woman necessarily making money or whatever from the situation. But like I said, to me, she loses credibility when they had an opportunity to quote punish him for whatever crimes he supposedly committed against her. When they had an opportunity to do that, she was a part of the exoneration of Kelly. So from that perspective, all credibility about, are you lying then? It's basically, are you lying then or are you lying now? That's where I am generally with her, because of that.
And I can understand.
Has she told the truth? Has she told the truth, but he has still been exonerated? Then my empathy for her is much greater.
Yeah. She chose to protect her boyfriend, and I get that, because when she was talking, R. Kelly had me sit out in the van, down the street. No, you was out there in support of your boyfriend. That's and I'm not saying it was right for her to make R. Kelly her boyfriend, but that's what you was doing. Now I just went on the music app, y'all, just to see what Sparkle been doing. I see an album in 1998. I see an album that says 2000. That's where it stops.
Yep, it's over with.
So Sparkle never became that quote unquote big artist. It doesn't look like,
Fizzled out.
So did Auntie help you or hurt you? Yeah.
Does she have any songwriter or production credit?
Well, you know what? That's
like
a good question. Let's look that up.
Everybody Everybody knows she's from Chicago, Black Rule. It might be iffy.
I mean, because
A lot of
you
people
can
that
make a
want to
lot,
write songs from
you can make a
Chicago.
lot more money. I'm just saying you can make a lot more money songwriting than you ever make performing.
That's for sure.
Right. Yep.
That's for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. So, shout out to Google. Because I'm definitely looking it up right now.
Hey, that's probably what they did, Roger. They probably Googled Sparkle and R. Kelly name was attached to it. And oh shit, no.
Well,
Send it
I
back to
mean,
her.
I
Shred
can't
it,
be
burn
mad
it.
at her, man. I can't be mad at her. I mean, again, people get peed on for free. She getting peed on for some. I mean, she turning it into some money. And your uncle ain't playing for R. Kelly right now. Sparkle ain't putting no hits out. So you do what you got to do. No, this is a short list. I just sparkled it. Well, let's see what it says. 1976. Oh no, this talking about something else. Okay, I was gonna say because this was
Sparkle the
super
movie.
short. Yeah, that's what
Like
it is. Yeah, I was gonna say this is a super short list. But I see
I think
1976. So
she should
she ain't
change her
Google
name in
worthy.
2000. That's
Yeah,
what she should have did. Should have changed her name.
yeah. She ain't, you Google it, she ain't even popping up like that. So, that ain't a good sign for her either. Okay. that ain't a good sign that she was out there making the hits, And Black Root makes a point. You can make a lot of money as a writer, because that was the thing about Neo, and I think the Dream, people convinced them to get out there and start singing because they was just writing up stuff, and they was big paid before we ever knew who they was, because they was writing hits, But if R. Kelly was your only way into the game, you didn't have no other connections, I don't know who she would have written for, because you fall out with him, and I do think this is probably something with the competition, because she said her and her auntie used to talk, and I don't know if it was this interview or one of the other interviews, but it was they said they used to talk, so she knew Sparkle had slept with R. Kelly. Sometimes I guess maybe you got to put your auntie out the way. She come around too much, possibly, because what also was an interesting thing to me, that the claim is Sparkle was trying to tell people that her and R. Kelly relationship changed from just being like a kid that hangs around to something sexual going on. And I'm just wondering who would Sparkle be trying to convince? Who is it that Sparkle would be trying to convince that wouldn't believe her? Does that even make sense? You're a black woman. You saying this superstar black guy is messing with children. Who's not going to investigate that? So now I got questions on, and Blackwell, you make a good point. She may have been doing a lot of stuff to try to protect her parents. Because my thing is, if you tell on a black man and say he touching on kids, who's not going to investigate that? So I'm pretty sure somebody had to come out to investigate something at some point. Now, could the parents clean it all up and try to make sure?
She also mentioned a brother, and was he a younger brother in particular? Because if he's a younger brother, then if my parents get in trouble, what's going to happen to my younger brother? See, that could be part of the dynamics of look. I'm not making excuses for what she did. I'm just saying these are possible things that might factor in. Well, I can just take this money and be quiet, because if I tell the truth, then it, not only the gravy train stops and I'm no longer with Kelly, but then my parents could be in trouble, and my the status of my brother could be at risk. So those are things that people might think about as well in this kind of situation. Yeah, not making excuses for her, but those are things that people might think in that situation. Certainly some young woman who don't know a lot about other stuff.
Yeah. Now, Google telling me, y'all, say yes, the R&B artist Sparkle Stephanie Edwards has writing credits. Songwriting, it says she co-authored much of her 2000 follow-up album, Told You So, for Motown. Okay, but I don't know if that did anything. You know what I'm saying? So then it just goes right into background vocals, and then there's something about her as far as a career note is concerned. So if she really only did her own her secondary album, or her sophomore album, I should say, maybe her songwriting credits didn't really bring too much in, So and I guess if you knew R. Kelly like that, I don't know what to think about Sparkle. Sparkle was the one that's trying to save her from R. Kelly, but Sparkle also the one that told her to go get in R. Kelly lap. It don't make a lot of sense to me. It don't make it. Maybe
Well,
she's trying to protect
if I
too.
heard correctly, now if I heard correctly, Sparkle only turned on R. Kelly or revealed this alleged malfeasance, I guess, with her when she became disconnected from R. Kelly. So, she was good, I guess, with what happened until she herself could no longer benefit from her association with R. Kelly. And then that apparently sparked her revealing what supposedly was happening. So Sparkle set the thing up. She was a part of starting the child essay and all. She sparked it off. She benefited from it because obviously she had brought this child to Kelly, and of course I would imagine Kelly would then gratefully award Sparkle for bringing her. But then, a few years go by, things don't necessarily go how either Sparkle or R. Kelly wants them to go. Their relationship comes apart. Business, maybe even personal and business relationship comes apart. And then, okay, now I'm going to be forthright, supposedly, about what's happening. So Sparkle is being presented as really the villainess in this whole story, as much as Kelly, or as in line with Kelly at least.
I mean, to me, that's probably the proper place for her to be, And I'm looking at the album, y'all. She only got one song, called "Be Careful," where it says R. Kelly and Sparkle. Ain't no featuring R. Kelly nowhere else on her album, and R. Kelly don't seem. I don't see no featuring R. Kelly on the second album. Maybe they didn't put the feature on here, but usually they do. So I don't know. You only got one song with R. Kelly. That's it. I wonder. Hey, you bring me a kid, I'll give you a feature.
Super.
Damn. That's cold-blooded.
We'll see. We'll write the kids.
That's cold-blooded. Although, it might not even be. That might not even be atypical. It might be part of how the whole industry works if you really look at things. But look, Dennis Rodman himself said it best, although he was referring to something else. The NBA is 50% money and 50% pussy. And that's pretty much the whole entertainment sector. It runs on both of those particular fuel sources. Now that the latter could also come, unfortunately, in male form as well. But 50% money and 50% pussy. Yeah. That pussy is definitely a part of the commerce of the entertainment business, not just from a standpoint of just pleasure, but it's a part of the commerce. It's a part of the fucking for beats. You hear about women, starlets fucking for beats or tracks and that kind of. That's a thing. That's a real thing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I
And
mean,
you're right about the rule. I could add on to that one. Man, it's like that for even executives. So certain people want to meet certain people. Certain people want tickets to a show. Certain people want to get VIP. Hey.
Now I'm gonna say y'all got to understand what he just said has a lot of weight to it because he was just the driver and he's smashing people just to get to places. I'm just saying, So that's a whole lot. You just driving folks around.
The driver knows wherever everybody's going. So if I know where everybody's going, if I know where Chris Brown is, assuming I've driven for Chris Brown or something like that, I don't know. But if I've driven for Chris Brown and I know where Chris Brown is, I can let you know where he is. But in order for you to get there, I need some topping off.
I can tell you how to get there. Heck, I can even drop you off. I know where you hang out.
And a lot of times, it don't even have to be directly Chris Brown. Yeah, I know security. I know his assistant manager or some shit. Like that.
I know the hairdresser.
My sister's half brother.
So like a
workplace security team.
It's like a stairway. It's like a stairway for hoes. The entertainment business is like a stairway for hoes. You got to step up, top this guy off. You got to step up, bust it wide open for this guy. You got to put this step. You got to jerk off the guy who is the sous chef in such and such favorite restaurant. All kinds of weird stuff like that.
Yeah, I got T-shirts. I want him to wear. Can you give me to wear my T-shirts? Can you give me to wear my hat? Can you give me to wear my jacket?
My Instagram. Can you give him my Instagram? Can you give my Instagram? All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and y'all, I'm gonna tell you, as a guy who was trying to be a rapper, boy, that really taught me just how much women are willing to do over a quote unquote hope. You don't have to have no solid foundation at all, but the hope that you might be somebody one day, boy, they be going. Yeah. Just the hope of it, it's amazing.
Right. Now take that. Take what we've just been talking about it, and then project it into a young woman who is directly working with and connected to R. Kelly.
And that's why I say she had a ball. I just don't like she's doing this thing and trying to make it traumatic. I mean, it's bad enough that you can say I was a 14-year-old, he did something with. That's bad enough as it is. Okay, his reputation is already soiled. So my thing is, why are you presenting this as if you were traumatized and you didn't even know something? If people got to tell you there's a problem, it didn't traumatize you. That's my thing. If someone has to tell you that you ain't supposed to be doing this thing because it's wrong, and you're being forced to accept it, that you have to let this thing go.
How is she gonna sell her book and the option rights to the movie and the screenplay? Because I believe this likely will be optioned if it hasn't already, and likely will even. It would not at all surprise me if this end up on Lifetime or Tubi or some shit like that. It would not surprise me at all. So how do I sell that without the trauma? How do I sell that without the trauma? There's no selling that without the trauma.
No, you 100% right. And truth be told, real talk, I'm pretty sure. Now, this is just me guessing. I'm pretty sure somebody reached out to her and said, we want to do a movie. We need you to write a book. Because, that's how we going to play it up. You know what I'm saying? It's R. Kelly. Hey, You know, we gonna make a different kind of movie about a music superstar. You know, but see, we want your personal account. Because see, my thing now, based on the way they was talking, it didn't sound like she was in Surviving R. Kelly. You know what I'm saying? Because when I seen them talk about it, which I believe that was the same interview that I put in the link. I don't think she was in it because she was like, "Well, did you see did you see Surviving R. Kelly?" She was like, "Well, you know, I saw enough." If that's it, the one that I put in the link. You know, like I said, I watched a few of them, y'all. So, so technically, her story, particularly, hasn't quote unquote quite been told from a media standpoint. So yeah, we're gonna tell your story. We're gonna make it a movie about you and your relationship with R. Kelly. But we want you to write up a book. You know, we're gonna help you write a book, and then we're gonna see if we can get this into the big motion pictures, possibly. And if that don't work, we can always fall back on Lifetime.
Right.
Well, I mean, you got all the street. Oh no, or Netflix. I mean, you definitely got Netflix. You know, it probably has already been optioned to Netflix. You know, they seem to buy everything else these days. So.
Yeah, I'm just saying if nothing else works, you know, you got Lifetime. That's all I'm saying. But I don't see it not working.
No, Lifetime is guaranteed.
Yeah, I'm
Lifetime
not saying,
is guaranteed. If nothing else works, yeah.
yeah, Lifetime gonna be there. But I ain't saying it wouldn't work in other situations. But if we can't do nothing with all these other folks, Lifetime gonna run it. It just is what it is. So we know we're gonna get paid no matter what. So go and write this book. We're gonna help you write it. You know, promote it out a little bit, and then we're gonna put a movie out, and it's gonna work. But let me slow down. Jado has come, y'all, and Jado came an hour before he did yesterday. I don't know. Jado, I was just messing with you, brother. I was just messing with you. You know, you can come late if you want. You got it like that, brother. I was just messing with you.
I don't think I made a mistake, Roger. Made my time is off, man. Daylight savings.
Daylight Jado time.
I don't know what's going on, brother. Hey, I was debating on whether to come up or not because I'm gonna have to dip real soon. But yeah, man, great topic, man. I have a lot of conflicting ideas and thoughts and stuff like here. So I ain't really gonna take no really hard stance on anything right now, man. It's just I'm gonna stay out of it. But what it does remind me, I think I mentioned this a long time ago. I think when I first started coming up to your show, Roger, was like, man, never let the truth get in the way of a good story, man. And underneath all this, man, so many variables and stuff like this that who know? I mean, I don't know, man. I just don't know. And I'm I'll say that this is the only stance I'll take, man. This is America, man. I say go get your money, man. I'm pretty sure, this is my guess, that some person, some agent or some sort of a certain ethnicity, maybe of some ethnicity or not, of some certain ethnicity, approached this woman and said, hey, we got a good deal for you. You know, this is what we're going to do. This is my guess. And she's going forth with it. Whether she's traumatized or not, Roger, I may lean slightly towards what you're saying that she's not, but you know, I can't prove it. You know what I'm saying? So whatever, you know, this America, people out here trying to get to the bag, some sort. And I say go for it. I'm not mad at her whatsoever. You know what I mean? I guess, I'll end right there, man. Thanks for having me, bro.
Now, you know what, Jada? I'm rocking with you 100%. It's a lot of people who gonna say something to her, but when it comes to some women, she gonna be like, who pissed on you, though? Okay? R. Kelly pissed on me. Who pissed on you? Some nigga named Larry at the burger shop. So who pissed on you? So, and I did say the same thing in my mind mentally, man. Don King came up only in America, y'all, and I do believe this is one of those only in America stories. This America is maybe one of the only countries in the world where you can do something where you were not an actual victim, but because of your age, you technically are a victim. Have a ball the whole time, and then later on use that same information to make your come up. You know, that's I don't know if it goes like this in other places around the world, but and then the guy gonna get taken down. Not saying the guy shouldn't get taken down. And then you got all these other people that was nobody when they tried R. Kelly and they was going after the RICO. I don't remember nobody going after these people. You know,
we had a conspiracy conviction, a RICO conviction, and there was one guy involved in the conspiracy. I mean, listen, let me tell you, America, this is an evil country, man. It's evil in this whole selectiveness of the people. Like, we got these tapes coming out, and apparently there's not just you got tapes, you got emails, you got everything of like stuff that really should only occur in like a George Romero or John Carpenter horror film. Like, some of the stuff that you hear being described is some shit that should happen in like Rob Zombie film or something like that. And none of those people are in a jail anywhere. None of them. But then you pick out these few successful high post black guys and you turn them into the demons from hell itself. And you convict them on crimes that nobody else has been charged with, like in 100 years or 15 years. I mean, it's an evil country, man. This is an evil country.
I mean, it is an amazing that. Well, first of all, shout out to Truth Teller. He said, "I never thought about women getting into a pissing contest." Well, I mean, let's think about it. They do. They get in pissing contests all the time. This would just be a different form of a pissing contest, because she could say, "R. Kelly pissed on me," but Bill at the local auto mart was pissing on you. So who wins in that? And I'm gonna say shout out to Trust, y'all. Shout out to Trust. He say, leave it to Roger to present a perspective not often considered. I mean, somebody got to think about it. Because I can't say it's bad for R. Kelly to pay his penalties for getting caught, but I don't like the fact that he got railroaded, because I'm never going to agree to somebody getting railroaded, because if I agree that he gets railroaded, then that means somebody can railroad me. So I'm not going to agree with somebody being railroaded. You should get them in a legitimate legal way, so it don't leave room for any interpretation. But he did go down on the RICO case, and now, Sparkle the one telling the girl to go sit in R. Kelly lap. But I don't remember Sparkle being in trouble. I don't. Now everyone's accepting that the parents knew what was going on. Okay, cool. Well, if I accept the parents knew what was going on, I don't remember the parents getting in trouble. Okay? Your uncle played for R. Kelly. Did he know what was going on? Kind of hard to believe that your auntie is Sparkle. She got her relationship with R. Kelly. Your uncle playing for R. Kelly. R. Kelly was presented as a friend of the family, and then R. Kelly getting a RICO case. This family ain't got nothing to do with it. That's crazy. And I don't know what the relationships is. So the uncle, the dad, and Sparkle could be two brothers and one sister. They could be siblings. Now I don't know, because he married somebody, so I don't know where the uncle come from. But Sparkle, this uncle and his dad could be brothers and sisters. They could have been friends of R. Kelly for a long time. Nobody went down for Rico but R. Kelly. That's just very interesting to me. You know? And wasn't this part of why he went down on the Rico stuff? Wasn't this actual event, you know what I'm saying, where he had something to do with her? Ain't that one of the reasons they used to take R. Kelly down? So that being the case, you know, how come the family ain't involved at all? That sounds crazy to me. And her, yes, I think she had a great time. If I'm a youngster, I'm 12 years old. I got music selling overseas. I'm making some kind of money off of it. You know, it may not be the money she deserved because, you know, I guess it's easy to get to you know, stick up a 12-year-old than it is a 21-year-old, and the 21-year-old still get done bad. But I'm famous overseas. I'm having a ball. Okay. Now, one of the most famous singers in the world is rocking with me. I'm having a great time. That's all I can see this as. I'm having a great time. And then later on, I get to act like I'm traumatized and put a book out, you know, so I can make even more money on top of all this. Okay. Now let me say, we out here. I see you say something. He said, Roger keeps saying uncle. This was the girl's father who worked for R. Kelly. Now, in that interview, didn't she say her uncle played for R. Kelly? Did I not hear that?
Yeah, he said her uncle. He said her uncle played for R. Kelly.
Yeah, see, brother, I mean, the uncle was there too. You know, now obviously Sparkle is the okay, and we out here saying the father is Sparkle's brother. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
I could confirm.
No,
I mean,
look,
I'm gonna go with
they
that.
all they all were a part. If a SA crime or sex crime occurred, they were all conspirators to it. They were all conspirators to it during and after the fact.
The only real victim possibly is her mama. Maybe her mama was a victim at first. Maybe everybody told her, hey, this is what your daughter doing. We ain't asking you. We telling you. And you gonna roll along with it. That's what you gonna do. You gonna roll along with it, you know. So maybe mama was a victim of at some point. Yeah, I can't say you gotta stay a victim, because if somebody tell you they got their kid, your kids out there on the blade and you don't do nothing, I'm still gonna blame you. You know what I'm saying? You can be shocked in the beginning, but I'm gonna blame you. Just let your daughter on the blade now.
From the way they presented it, it's almost like her mother died. I don't know if her mother died during the trial, the Kelly trial. I'm not talking about recently. I'm talking about the Chicago trial. Because you mentioned something about some apologies or whatever occurring for her mother. It appeared to happen during the time of the trial. It's kind of unclear. But she said something about not apologies, condolences or whatever, because her mother had died. So I think her mother died somewhere around during the time of that trial here in Cook County. So she, you know, both of her parents are gone, and you know, I empathize with her for that because she's still a relatively young woman. But yeah, you know, but again, she says something where she said, you know, when this was going on, people were making fun of me or supposedly what happened, the tape, and she felt badly about that I was being treated more like some joke and not as a victim. But during the same time, you're lying to federal prosecutors about what happened. So you're being given the chance to make him guilty or make him account for what he supposedly has done to you as this so-called victim. But when you get a chance to actually give damning testimony against him, you refuse to do so. So you want the benefit of being a victim while lying.
And my thing is, she wants the benefit of being a victim while she's anonymous. How are you a victim and you're not? I don't know who you are. Like,
yeah.
Right. What's the big deal? We cracking jokes on a woman that's unknown. And yeah, you was a girl back then, but these jokes is coming out. You're an adult at this point, but you still unknown. So don't nobody know. I mean, maybe if someone already knew you personally, maybe they knew who you were, or if you got the tape that I saw, I mean, I had no clue who she was, because when I saw a girl's face on that tape, if that's the same girl, which I'm accepting that it is, all I saw was the very top of her head. Like, I could see like down to her eyes. I couldn't even really, I don't remember seeing her nose, mouth, or anything. You know what I'm saying? You could tell what she was doing. She had something in her mouth. Her mouth was busy. You could tell her mouth was big, but I couldn't even see her mouth. So you offended that somebody made jokes on the guy that I mean, do you hate him? I mean, I don't even understand.
Well, look, why. I thought it was. I thought I always thought the jokes were. I was always very ambivalent about the jokes because they supposedly involved a child, and so I always thought like we're all making fun of some form of sex crime that has occurred against the child, supposedly or allegedly. So for that reason, I made a point to not watch the video, because I'm like, well, I don't want to watch, watching this thing is tantamount to a crime. So a federal crime at that. So I had a lot of ambivalent thoughts about the joking, but once I was supportive of who or what she thought she was, right up to the point in which she had an opportunity to publicly, because she was a grown woman by then, she had an opportunity to publicly say that he did this to me when I was, 14, 15 years old. I would have totally supported her doing that. But once she did not go public, and when she had an opportunity to tell prosecutors what happened when she lied about it, now I'm like, well, you're just part of the whole deal.
What Black women seem to have a very, very, I'm just going to say, all around interesting sexual relationship with all kinds of elements of people and systems and just kind of everything. They how they look at sex and view sex is just, it's almost amazing. I really think somebody should study it, real talk. Now I'm going to say,
when I hear people think Black women are unique in that regard?
I mean,
I think all women are, in a race situation. I think all women are hoes. I think part of I'm just saying, I think part of the nature of a female is to be sexually available and libertine. And I think evolutionarily, assuming you believe in such, I think the most sexual libertine female is the female that's most likely to survive over time, because she makes herself much more available to the pleasure of a broader population of males. And in a situation where life is precarious, and if you go back 10,000 years or whatever, life is precarious. Life's expectancy might be 25 years old or whatever, depending on what environment you're in. The woman who is going to bust it wide open exactly when she needs to bust it wide open is going to be the woman who's most likely to survive in that environment. And I think that spirit has evolved into the modern female. And I think it's always there. I think it's always now. In some women, it's going to be more dormant than in other women, based on how their upbringing, their genetics and epigenetics is a factor, but because some are still going to be less so than others. But I think in general, we're the product of females. We are all the product of females who got in them the ability and the willingness to bust it wide open.
Well, I mean,
and I don't think black women are unique in that regard at all. I don't think black women are unique in that regard at all. I think the only difference between them and other females is the ability of the men group to control or not control, what they do with themselves.
Shout out to Landry. Landry say Bishop Magic Uru. Now somebody did say that. Somebody did say spoke like a true pimp. I don't know if Landry said it or not, but somebody was like spoke like a true pimp.
If she's gonna do it, I might as well get paid for it, player. If she gonna do it, I might as well get paid.
Now, hey, I do think that's something that brothers do need to accept, and like I say, I can even understand why she putting the book out. You done did all this stuff. Your name done got all. Well, she became a public figure as much as she wanted to in her own mind, because if you don't know her, you don't know she the girl that R. Kelly peed on. She had to come out and tell me, "Hey, I'm the girl R. Kelly peed on," because I had no way of knowing. And I'm in Chicago. I don't know if I've ever seen her before or not. You know what I'm saying? Probably did. But I had no clue she was the girl that R. Kelly peed on. So she wanted to reclaim her name. And I guess she don't want us wondering who that girl was. And so now I know. Okay, so now I know. I don't know what changed in my life. Like, now I know 100% for sure you're the girl that R. Kelly peed on. But if it's your way to make money, I get it. Why get a regular job if you could just write a book? And I'm not saying she don't have a regular job, because I don't know. I mean, she's 41 years old with a 5-year-old. Maybe she has a job, maybe she doesn't. It's kind of hard to tell. Black women with a kid is kind of hard to tell if she has a job or not. It really is. She possibly could have one, but then there's reason to believe she don't have one. And
no, I think she will probably be do very well. Selling books these days get a little dicey because of all the ability to pirate certain things, but the optioning of this into either a movie or a series of some sort, that's very strong right now. I was watching this video from this black woman who is in the entertainment business or whatever, Hollywood, and she was talking about how all of the studios are the IP or intellectual properties, books essentially, are pretty much run or control Hollywood because everybody's looking for a guaranteed return of some sort. So if you get a book and it does very well, gets this kind of attention, like on this video that you featured here, it gets some gravity in the social media, which again we're looking at social media. It garners this kind of debate that we're having here, which gets into the algorithm. That will be very marketable to Hollywood right now, where they're saying, well, we're probably going to get at least 2 million or whatever eyes when this released, or we could sell maybe 5 million tickets if we put this at a theater or some streaming or whatever. So she'll probably make a decent amount of money off of this. She'll probably do fairly well off it.
Yeah, and that's why I'm thinking. Yeah, I totally get it. Why work a job when you can tell people R. Kelly pissed on you? And that's gonna turn into some money.
Well,
I
look,
totally get it.
If you're gonna get peed on, you might as well get rich from it.
I'm saying. Because,
You
and
know,
she gonna tell y'all,
you might as well give her a Trump.
y'all gonna talk about me for getting peed on, but Brian, who work at Red Lobster, peed on you. and how much did
Right.
you see from that?
Right.
Do your thing. Only in America, y'all. Only in America. But the Great Black Reset is joining us. So Great Black Reset, where you want to go with this one, brother? Where you want to go with this
Man, this is the utter laziness and uselessness of women. This is what this is, bro. They don't want to work for nothing. They don't want to put forth no effort for nothing. They don't want to do anything that they're meant to do and supposed to do. This chick has gone into a life where nobody knows who the heck she is. She was a minor when this happened. Everybody's forgotten. This was before social media blew up the way that it did. Nobody knows who this chick is. They are starving for attention no matter how they get it, no matter how infamous it may make them. They don't care. Good attention, bad attention, nothing. So you want to be known for getting pissed on. Really? Y'all forgot about me? What? Not for having talent. Well, I saw the video. She was talented. But not for having any real talent.
Supposedly she was talented, because I don't even remember them mentioning that group's name. I'm just saying.
This, man, bro, this is ridiculous, man. Women, we are in an era where women are getting on the internet and begging for attention and money. And this is just another form. That's all this is. She's begging for attention and she's begging for money. And the people that are stupid enough to pay her for interviews so they can get some more clicks and views, man, this is craziness, man. This is craziness. So you're gonna go into the future. I don't know if she has children or not. You're gonna go into the future and let your children go to school for their classmates to say, yeah, mama got pissed on by R. Kelly.
Well, she has a 5-year-old son, and she wants her 5-year-old son to understand her viewpoint on how she got pissed on by R. Kelly. She said she was the best person for the job. Let her
Well,
son know.
look. Strategically, folks are gonna know. I mean, and this may sound like a defense for what she's doing. So let me preface it by saying that strategically, let's be real. If they don't already know, they're definitely going to assume his friends and because she has a 5-year-old son, his friends, people, they're going to know she was the lady who got pissed on. So
They are
strategically,
now.
she may as well put. Well, yeah, I mean, definitely now, but
They was
I'm
gonna
just saying
find
they
out
would
anyway.
eventually, if they didn't know, they were going to find out. So strategically, you're better off if a bomb is going to explode, then what's the point of trying to defuse it if it's already exploded?
Yeah.
So strategically, it's better just position yourself where, okay, I'm going to say that it happened, and I'm going to say it and present it in the context in which you, son, being my heir, will financially benefit from it. Because I can't stop from getting pissed on. I can't go back 25 years or whatever in the past and not get pissed on. That's already done happened.
Yeah.
So you think she presents as the type of woman that is doing this for the benefit of her child?
That's the
I
claim
think
she's
that's how
making.
she would. I think that's how she would. Yeah, I think that's how she would present it to her son. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not saying she's doing it for that reason, but that's part of her claim. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this: you can be part of a big story for a day or two, and it goes away for America as a country. But when it's you in the story, that can stick with you for the rest of your life. Because
Yeah.
your inner circle gonna know that's you, and
But
we ain't gonna let you
has the
have from it.
advantage. But she has the advantage now of R. Kelly being pretty much demonized and incarcerated and whatever. So she can present, well, he was this evil guy. He forced me to do it. I was afraid of him because the world has demonized him. So yeah, I can be this hapless victim to this evil guy that the world now recognizes as this demonic figure. So if I can't undo the past, I can be, of what I was involved with. I can be the hapless child victim of the past.
Mm-hmm. And R. Kelly can't sue me now. He locked up. Now my thing is now the reason I believe R. Kelly truly is locked up just because as he said in that interview, I've been doing this 31 years. Oh no, that was the song he said he was doing it 31 years. But I think in the interview where he kind of snapped talking about y'all trying to destroy him, I think he said he's been doing it for 30 years then, and it's just so happens that after 30 years you can remaster your stuff. That's quite convenient. That's all I'm gonna say. So I don't think none of this stuff is really even about her. But she got to get her pound of flesh too, because if everybody else gonna get paid, and I got pissed on, I should get paid too. I mean, when you think about it from that perspective, she's a 41-year-old woman. A lot of people have made money off the accusations of R. Kelly. A lot of folks have made money. You gonna sit there and be broke while all these other people making money off the accusations, and you claim to be the girl that was in the video, and everybody getting paid but you? See, it makes sense to me. I ain't saying it's good, but it does make sense. This news station getting the money, this news station getting money. These people done produced a special, which I thought was just like a one-time thing. Then I found out it was, it was like a docu series, I guess, or whatever, or at least something that was multiple episodes. So all these people gonna make some money, except the girl who got pissed on. Now, would you take that? you gonna sit there being the girl who got pissed on and not put in? No, somebody got to pay me too. Everybody else getting paid. I got to get some of this. So it makes sense to me.
These people have no integrity. They can't do real math or social math. The social math is the damage behind this is going to outrun any kind of money you think you're going to make. It's going to outrun you. It's going to outrun your child. You cannot measure the social damage you're doing to your child. It's just like these chicks on OnlyFans, just like all these chicks who put all these twerking videos on the internet, and now they got children. And these children's classmates can always say, "This your mama? Come on, man. You oh my God. These chicks, they don't do the math. They don't care about anything but themselves. They don't care about their children, nothing. Every chick that's doing this kind of stuff, not to this level, because very few of them get to this level, but every chick that puts their ass on the internet knowingly, they're not doing the social math, man. They're not.
I think you have a very good point, and mathematically, there's going to be some hurt that's going to come behind this. I think the trauma might start with her child, because at the end of the day, he's 5 right now. 5 is about what? Kindergarten? He's about 5 years old.
Yep.
Wait till he gets to about 7th or 8th grade. And when he go to high school, because I know me, and I will admit this publicly, y'all. Let me have found out that your mama got peed on by R. Kelly. And it's freshman year, y'all. I used to roast people every day. Okay, me and my friends used to roast each other every day. You get quite good at roasting people when you got to roast the same people on a regular basis. Now I ain't saying we didn't roast other people too, but we definitely roasted each other. You can't give me this type of ammo and it's just gonna be all right.
Man.
Even as a friend, I'm gonna have to do a little something with this. I might let it go after a while, but this just too much information for me. Real talk. We was terrible each other. Just when we found out people's mama's first names, we was doing terrible stuff to each other. Real talk. If you heard me and my friends talk about each other mamas, y'all would not think we friends. I'm just saying. So to let me know beyond a shadow of a doubt, your mama done admitted she was the girl that got pissed on. Boy, I can't wait the second period. That's all. I got you. Wait the second period, Joe.
I have a different view of perspective of that. I mean, guys would tell the mama jokes, right? But we would not tell jokes about things that would have been really actually embarrassing to our friends. Like, my best friend at some point, his mother was on the street corner. She was a drug addict. We had to chase away Johns. So my best friend. I would never speak of that to him in any sort of about that to him in any sort of joking way. This is my best friend over 50 years. Thankfully,
Yeah, of
his
course.
mother is still alive to this day, and I love her, and I adored his mother. I still do. I remember when we were kids, I used to think she was the most beautiful woman ever, and she got involved with the wrong dude, and he got her hooked. What was it, the late 70s or whatever, and she was out there, man. And I would never. We didn't say negative things about each other's mothers if they were real and they were hurtful things. We didn't do that. So I don't know, maybe it's a generational thing, but we didn't do that.
I think you're making a good point. I think you're making a good point. And you're right. It wouldn't have been your friends who would have used that ammo. It would have been the other dudes who used that ammo, which would have made it that much worse.
The people that don't like you as a child, there are no boundaries.
Yeah. Well, no, if they don't like you, if they're not your friends, then that's a different thing. If they're just some people, or especially if they were enemies, you would kind of expect that to happen. Sure.
Everybody goes.
Like I said, we didn't tell those jokes about each other's friends. Yeah.
Everybody goes to school with kids like that. Now, here's the crazy thing: the girls are worse than the boys.
Oh yeah, no, the girls have no filter, and because it's different because at a certain point, guys are gonna knuckle up or worse. So once you go to a certain level, you also know you enter into a territory where somebody might end up bleeding.
Right.
That don't happen, or was not as likely to happen with girls, which just makes them even more nasty.
And what type of mentality does a kid like that develop over time to survive and come out on the other end of that?
Yeah,
what type of person is that?
Then that's when you start getting into some tough questions.
But here's where it's weird though, because there's so many hoes out here. We're in like 3 generations of hoes. Like, I mean, it's been hoes for about 5 generations, right? I guess going back to the 60s. But breaking into the 80s, that was a whole different level of hoedom that started coming out of there, largely inspired by the crack era. And so I wonder if the really young men and boys, if everybody around them have been hoes and got OnlyFans and sex tapes and whatever, what is there really to be embarrassed about?
Well, there's in the 80s and 90s, we had plausible deniability. Even if you knew your mother was on drugs, even if you knew your mother was running the streets, you still had plausible deniability because nobody is going to show you a picture or image of her. But once you go into the information age and your mama is looking at the camera and turning her ass to the camera
and getting peed on.
This is different, bro.
Yeah,
I got actual imagery and videos of your mama enjoying herself doing
I'm just
unspeakable
saying.
acts.
I'm saying if you take her son is 5 years old. Let's think about her son. Her son is 5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say by the time he gets 10 years old, right? And he really kind of in the midst of things, really kind of understand things around 10 years old in school, 4th, 5th grade.
Right.
And he's got 10 buddies. Are you telling me that at least 4 of those 10 buddies in school ain't got the mama ain't got some OF thing, or dick in the mouth thing, or whatever going on out there? You tell me
Yes,
4 out of 10 in that group ain't got something out there by then?
yes. That's exactly what I'm saying.
But
That's exactly what I'm saying.
I think Black Rule makes the point if your mama is on OnlyFans, you're not necessarily gonna go down that road because you don't want your mama OnlyFans thing coming up. But you did also make a point that I agree with. Your friends ain't gonna be the ones that torture you in this area. Your friends gonna give you a pass in this area. The people that don't like you so much, they gonna torture you in this very area. So it's gonna be
their
out
mama
there.
got OF too. But they mama got OF accounts too. Your enemies gonna have OF accounts just like your friends got.
I guess it's for a while. It's gonna be like the OK Corral for a while.
I think we're not really thinking honestly about the hellscape that's coming.
Fellas,
Uru is
100% right, fellas. This will be nothing. For a 5-year-old, this will be nothing.
Let me throw this out here. Y'all. Because freshman year, and these are still children. They don't have the filters that adults do yet. Not yet. We all know we done did some stuff that we shouldn't have did when we was like 13-ish, 14 years old, when people go in for freshman year. And like I say, it's going to be your enemies that really get you on this type of stuff. So at the end of the day, I think it's going to be kind of like the OK Corral for a while because they're going to have to make some new rules up because the rules don't exist right now.
But the enemies got whole mamas too. Everybody got whole mamas. Everybody got whole mamas now. It's like the fastest gun to the, I mean, I'm just saying, again, you're thinking about it from our perspective in the world we're in, where this thing is relatively infrequent and unique to. Look, you have a rapper, I don't know her name, was kind of advertising she willing to get pissed on for the right price, right? What was her name? Y'all know.
That was
in fact, I think she was involved with Sean Combs. Yeah. So that's a whole different world. Nowhere 20 years ago would somebody of that profile say something like that.
We're speaking like we're still in the 80s and 90s, right? Those times are over.
Right.
They're done.
Oh, but you know what? I'm gonna say the next 10 years is gonna be interesting. That's all I'm gonna say. Well, I'll say, in 10 years it's gonna get very interesting. That's what I'm gonna say. It's gonna be very interesting.
You gonna get that mass email from an anonymous account when you go to school and everybody looking at the same image at the same time while you sit down and you're like, what y'all looking at? And then you go and look and at your mama's spread eagle. You don't even know where it came from. These are the kind of hits gonna be happening, man.
Well, y'all, let me get bad black. Let me get bad black game in here. But I'm gonna say, y'all, at some point in time, they're gonna send a letter home like, ain't gonna be no your mama jokes at this school.
Why they suspect you for saying your mama?
You allow your child to say any of your mama joke at all.
We'd have never went to school.
But bad black guy, get on in there, brother. Get on in there, brother. How you doing?
Hey, good morning, fellas. Or actually, good afternoon. How y'all doing? Salute to the chat. Salute to Roger.
I ain't got pissed on yet. I'm all right.
I mean, just stay away from Gold P. That's all I say. But
real talk.
how do I put this? I'm gonna start off like Monica Lewinsky, Superhead, the Maury Povich show, Bad Girls Club. What's that?
Nah, somebody has some background noise. Go ahead, bro.
Oh, you hear me? Okay, cool. Like I said, Monica Lewinsky, the Maury Povich show, Superhead. Like this is like how there's no shame no more. This is how they make money now. Like in the 80s, there was a bunch of back in the 80s and 70s, women used to go out and do all these things like Freaknik, in the 90s, Woodstock and the 70s, all this stuff. And we know that they did these things, but we didn't hear about it. Like nobody would talk about it. Like, especially after they became married or became a mom. You know what I'm saying? Now these people are using this as like the way to get some attention, or I don't know, to stun on somebody or to make money at the very least. Like there's no shame now. They just going back and I mean this what happened to this girl should have been like traumatic for her, but it wasn't. Like why nobody knows anything about you. Nobody knows who you are, per se. Why would you she got a 5-year-old son. Why would you do this? Nobody even knows it was you. All just so you can get some clout. Or I think he's just doing it to make some money, to be honest with you. But I think to a lot of times, to a lot of women, it seems like attention is worth more than gold. And you're going to blow up your whole reputation, your family. I mean, first of all, this makes your parents look bad because why were you out there with R. Kelly anyway? Why would any of these girls with R. Kelly? They had parents. Like, why were they signing off on this? You know what I'm saying? So first of all, this is already an embarrassment, but like, to the community and to the family and all this other stuff. But why would you even come out? And it's like they all chasing clout. And it's like this is the thing to do. It's like you can't be like a superstar athlete, and everybody knows like superstars or rock stars. They all have like these what you call them, the groupies and all that.
Well, you can't. Well,
And now nobody now you used to not know who those people were. Now these people come out and say, "Yeah, I was a groupie. Yeah, I did this." To everybody, yeah, I used to, blow such and such and get passed around all this stuff. Like this is crazy. This is a terrible time. This is the result of feminism. Like this is what they fought for.
Yes.
They have no shame.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely.
To all your questions.
100%.
To all your questions. I know it's painful to hear.
Don't know, now you know.
I mean, man, dude, it's not just your mama, it's everybody's mama. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can't talk about nobody.
Yes.
I see why the young guys don't want to get married.
Yes.
No, they still want to get married. Don't get that twisted. They still want you to bail them out. That's what the marriage is for. It's just
No, I'm talking about men. I'm talking about young men. I'm talking about the young men.
Okay.
No, the young men don't want to get married right now. They don't even want to like date these women.
It's one thing to be a hoe in theory. It's another thing to be a confirmed hoe. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, her story is she wants to be able to tell her son what happened from her own perspective, which I don't know why your son want to hear direct out your mouth to do his whole.
He didn't have to know. Nobody knew who you were. Nobody knew who she was.
Yeah, but screw all that. I need my son to know. Yeah, I was private. No one could confirm it was me that he would have to listen to. But no, that ain't good enough for my son. Me standing in the shadows is not good enough for my son. I need to be out there. I need to be roasted. I need to deal with the internet having this backlash on me because, there's always crazy people on the internet that's just going to be saying wild stuff about it. She need all that to take place before her son really know what's going on. You want to get that out the way so he'll be better prepared, I guess.
Well, let's be real. The people who know her and they know it's her. So really, you're asking her to be embarrassed about you and I knowing about her. And why does she give a fuck about what you and I think when she might make $1 million or whatever in between the book and the movie or the series rights? I mean, when you compare the two, the son already knows. His friends already know. Every people associated with those people know it's her. They know it. So there's nothing. She won't sustain any social loss from doing this from people who she would be presumably concerned about. Because she don't care nothing about you or I. Why would she care about what you or I think? We're not in any way any factors in her life. So then it's just a matter of, can I make money from this? Well, if there's money's to be made from it, now's the time to do it. And she and whomever represents and manages her is smartly capitalized. From a business standpoint, couldn't do better than what she's doing right now.
Yeah, and I am gonna say it is about relativity sometimes. R. Kelly is locked up. He ain't putting out no albums. This the last hurrah.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta consider that too. So I understand why she wrote the book. I know the reason she's saying I believe is a bunch of mess. She in that thing to get paid, and she don't want to be peed on for free. She was cool with getting peed on for free, but she was a child. Sometimes you grow up, you think about things in a new perspective. Like, I could have got some money getting peed on. So why did I just take who wants to be loved when I can get paid?
Roger, let me ask something to you, because you said something earlier in your show. You said something earlier in the show how, like, the girls back in the day, we all know girls that used to date older dudes. Like, they were teenagers, and that was the thing to do. To date dudes, they was like 21, 22, 23, 20, 24, 5. And here's the thing. Just like you were saying, they had a great time. They enjoyed themselves.
A ball. They had a ball.
They weren't victims at all. They were stunning on other girls, saying, my boyfriend's 25. He's got a car. He's got a job. He can actually take me out to eat a steak dinner. You know what I'm saying? For Valentine's. Like, we all watch them. Like, the same women that are the same age we are right now. I'm 43. I know you like in your 40s. We look at these women, these same women that did this when we was teenagers, try to act like people like R. Kelly and all these people were bad, are horrible people for dating young women. When I'm like, that's what y'all did. I look at them every day in their face.
Well, I think the problem is that a lot of us didn't choose to mess with them when they was underage. So we have a moral high ground that they don't have.
Yeah, we do.
And I think
even
that's
if we are dating
problematic.
somebody that's like 20 something now, and we're 40.
Well, I'm saying that I think that's kind of problematic for Black women. They don't like the idea that Black men, from a general standpoint, because you did have the guys who was messing with them when they was kids, but Black men, from a general standpoint, don't like to mess with underage children. Especially when they getting around 30 years old or something like that. Now, I know underage it could be seen as different, but I'm talking about once he hits 18 and because I gave up somebody who was bad as I don't know what, because I was 18, she was 14, I found out. I mean, she told me she was 14, but I thought because I hit 18, I couldn't mess with her. And I still get salty about her to this day sometimes. One of the finest chicks I ever came across, but I had to give her up. At least that's what I thought, because I was too old. It is what it is. Can't have that one. Because you have a lot of Black men who would do stuff like that, I think that's problematic for Black women, because they don't really have scruples in this section, because it's like they'll do something with you because they don't care, because they're not gonna get in trouble anyway. The dude's gonna get in trouble.
Yeah, they had a great time.
Yeah, and then with the older women who have sex with the underage boys, the boys ain't really telling on them. Now, I do want y'all to pay attention to the fact that I'm not saying women ain't getting in trouble for it, but when y'all hear stuff about these teachers and whatnot, it don't be the boys telling on them. The boys just don't let the information get out.
Yeah, they bragging.
You see what I'm saying?
And notice it does not happen as the revelations and the whole criminal aspect of it. That does not happen as frequently amongst Black folks as it does amongst white folks. And I think that's in large part because Well, you have such fractured black families, you know, and you got a lot of black women themselves who are parents of young boys who are themselves or have themselves been engaging in nefarious activities with boys. And so you have this whole subterranean kind of uh, misbehavior that everybody is kind of keeping each other's secrets about this kind of thing. And they're all, or a lot of them, many of them are trifling with boys, but it's all a kind of a hushed kind of thing. And it was kind of alluded to in the movie Anton Fisher, if you recall,
Mm-hmm.
where you have this sort of secret sort of trifling with black boys from older women, and they're never really put in a position to account for it.
Yeah, to them, this is quote unquote child's play. For the women, this is child's play, you know, and they dig it. And when you're an older woman and you got you 2 or 3 daughters, and you don't have to buy your daughters anything because some guy who's way too old for them is messing with her, and he's buying her stuff. You protect that situation because you don't want to buy your daughter nothing. See, for them, it works like all the way through when you're a female. Because number one, the boys ain't telling on you when you start messing with the underage boys. Then when it comes to you, you benefited as the girl who was getting stuff off the guy who shouldn't have been messing with you in the first place. And then you grow up and your daughters get stuff off the guys that they shouldn't be messing with. And now you save money. So in a woman's perspective, she went in basically all the way around. So, you know, is it shocking to me that it was
It's
Sparkle's
called
idea?
it's called an ecosystem of hoes.
Mm-hmm. So I think Sparkle probably did her a favor in Sparkle's mind. In Sparkle's mind, let me do my niece a favor. Heck, I want R. Kelly to work with me a little bit more and help me be a star. Well, guess what, R. Kelly? We can get both our interests taken care of. You help me some more. Here go my niece. But ain't nobody gonna present it that way.
And it was only a problem with Sparkle until she and Kelly broke ties. Then all of a sudden, Sparkle wants to get ethical.
Mm-hmm. I got this theory that R. Kelly been messing with my niece. I can't prove it right now, but I think he might be messing with my niece.
And it's based on the formula that I put together. It's a theory based on something I helped to put together. It's an experiment that I helped to put together. That's what the theory is based on. Yeah.
Only in America can you tell your niece to go sit in the dude lap and ask to be his goddaughter. And now she got a theory that he might be messing with her and she don't know where it happened from. Lord have mercy, boy. Lord have mercy. So yeah, women feel like woo, 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 woo. I see something in the chat, man. I ain't gonna say that on air, but hey, man, good to hear from you, brother. Good to hear from you. That's a heck of an accusation. That's all I'm gonna say. But it don't mean it ain't true though. It don't mean it ain't true. Okay, it don't mean it ain't true because Sparkle, according to the R. Kelly girl, she knew Sparkle had sex with R. Kelly, so maybe they had a threesome or something. And what he talking about did go down. You know what I'm saying? What he talking about did go down. But good to hear from you, brother. Good to hear from you. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. Shout out to Elder Blood, and I guess this is gonna be like the last word of y'all because we are at the 3-hour mark. So we gonna hit the round table backstage and we gonna go from there. Now Elder Blood says this kind of BS pisses me off. Black women pulled that BS with the fallen angels, highest beast, in Genesis chapter 6. Playing victims when they weren't. Playing victims when they weren't. This is black women's 100% victimhood is absurd into absurdness. Well, y'all, I'm gonna say this: we're gonna have a very interesting show tomorrow because I'm gonna deal with something else that technically black women's sexual behavior is going to be a part of it. It's yeah, and it definitely will be a different perspective that I guess people don't want to touch. But hey, here at the Roger Report Live, we're gonna tackle the tough subjects from time to time. That's what we're gonna do. So y'all, it's been a great show. Let me no, you know what? Anybody want to get any last words in before we come off this particular one? But shout out to Sparkle. I'm gonna check your 2 albums out, Sparkle. So if you do hear this, understand, at least I'm gonna listen to your albums. You might get, you get a publishing credit or something maybe, but I'm gonna check your 2 albums out and see just how big you was, and if I recognize any of these songs that R. Kelly wasn't on, I'm gonna listen to your 2 albums so I can see what's up. Any last words from anybody before we get up out of here?
Yeah, Roger. I'm gonna say, Sparkle, you're wrong for playing the victim like you had no hand in helping groom your niece. Probably learned the playbook from you. Probably learned the moves from you. So, you're wrong for that. And try to go on every media outlet to explain away any association with the situation. But I will check out your music again, though, to give me some recollections. I ain't heard you in over 30 years, so I'm with Roger now.
Yeah, I just never remember her taking off. Real talk. Anybody else want to say something before we go to the round table? Going once, going twice. Well, I'm gonna take that as a wrap, y'all. It's been real. If you're new over here, make sure you subscribe to the channel, y'all. We do the tough stuff over here. We do the tough stuff. We do some fun stuff, but we're gonna do the tough stuff too. And I wouldn't have really brought this up, but I came across it and I saw the lady, she pushing her book. She didn't, you know what I'm saying? She want to make her bread. I ain't saying she can't make her bread. Now, were you traumatized? Yeah, I don't see where the trauma would come from, because you was a kid getting into the music industry. You had something popping off overseas. I don't know how strong that was, but even if it wasn't nothing, I think you had a ball the whole time. And now, because ain't no money coming in, because R. Kelly is locked up, ain't no money coming in, you say, hey, well, let me do what I got to do so I can get a little something going on. So I get it. I ain't saying you right, but I get it. Y'all, it's been a great show. Y'all have a wonderful rest of y'all day. I will see y'all back here tomorrow at 9 a.m. Chicago time, which happens to be the time, happens to be their time. So I guess they in the right area. So shout out to the R. Kelly girl who wants to reclaim her name. Okay, shout out to the R. Kelly girl for giving me great content for the day. You know what I'm saying? At least something good came out of it. I had a good show. So at least something good came out of you being fast. Okay, that's what. And shout out to Sparkle for telling her to go sit in R. Kelly lap. Shout out to you, Sparkle. I mean, I guess that was wonderful for you as an artist and as an auntie to tell your niece, go sit in that man's lap. Now I was joking about it. I'm gonna find you a 12-year-old so I can get a feature, even though it may have panned out that way. Maybe that's why it just never worked out between them, because it was give me a girl, I give you a feature. And maybe Sparkle wanted more than that. I don't know. This is just me theorizing. I don't know. But y'all have a good rest of y'all day. Long live the Habitual Line Steppers. I'm Roger. I'm right. And I'm out.
Yeah.